Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wild Card Wednesday. Today, we are getting pretty wild indeed. Steven's on the wild lanes. We're going to be checking out the A Song of Ice and Fire miniatures game from CMON. Is that how you even say it these days?
Yeah, that's how Eric told me to say it.
Okay, CMON, and this was designed.
He seems like he would know how to do it.
From what I know, Eric, and then also a guy named Michael. His name was on the box, which is worth shouting out. I didn't know it was a co-design project. But this game initially, CMON has a long history of kickstarting games. So this kickstarted, I think, back in 2017. The initial release was Stark v. Lannister, if you know anything about the universe of A Song of Ice and Fire. Also, the show Game of Thrones is based on it, if you aren't aware.
Game of Thrones? What is that?
What's a Game of Thrones? But the game came out, and I think this is one thing that a lot of miniatures games go through. I saw it with X-Wing. I've seen it with a bunch of miniatures games, which is one of the most interesting things in a miniatures game is having a lot of factions to choose from, where you get to pick your faction and dive in and buy the models you want for your faction. And so up front, they tend to have a harder time, because like that core box is this giant tome of a box with two factions in it.
And what if I don't like the Starks or the Lannisters? Which is true.
That was my thing. I'm a huge Targaryen fan. In the card game, we used to play the Game of Thrones card game. And that faction only recently came out, I think, in the past 6 to 9 months. So as you can see here with these red models, they're here. But this is a game, I love Eric Lang as a designer. I love the universe. So it's definitely been something on our periphery for a very long time. And it's hitting a lot of the right beats. We just kind of missed it like ships in the night. It's pre-assembled. The models are a little King's Landing joke there.
That's pretty funny. I have a lot to say about this too, but go ahead.
Yeah, so the models are pre-assembled. They're also color-coded. This is something we saw with a game like Power Rangers that we liked a lot.
God Tier did this too.
Yeah, and so
well.
Targaryen is a very red-themed faction with dragons and fire and blood and all that. So all my models are red, whereas Steven's playing the Wildlings, and they're like this light green-looking stuff, and the Lannisters are a golden color. So that's really handy. It means, like today, I literally opened this stuff up. I knew the rules barely enough to build our lists. So if they're awful,
classic.
well, it's actually...
It's just like I'm playing back in the old days with you.
It's a very... Yeah,
hey,
right?
man, I know the rules to this. Come on.
It's a very streamlined system. And so, a lot of times the miniatures games get buried in this like 200-page hardcover rulebook scenario. And I remember talking to Eric when we were first demoing it, and he was basically like, the pitch or the idea was like, a miniatures game where all the rules are on the cards.
Yeah.
Almost more board game style.
I thought that was all miniatures games.
No. I mean, you have paragraphs, but then you have books and books and books of rules.
Usually it's all the additional rules are on the cards, and then the actual rules are a 200-pager. Here's the thing. So here's the thing about miniatures games like this. That first of all, let's look at it. So I'm not going to give you the picture-in-picture. Let's just see the battlefield here.
Pete's saying, by the way, Michael was the primary designer. Eric assisted with development. I thought it was the inverse.
This looks great, right? I mean, you can't get away from how great this looks.
Well, and in person, you can see in our small shot that's now gone. It's fine.
Coming back.
You can see it's just like you have this army going on, right?
They look great.
And I think this is miniature war games. This is what they do.
They look great.
Tray-based games particularly. So to just kind of orient you, you want to go ahead and give me the top down again?
Yeah. I'll put the box there, but just know that this army over here,
this one over here,
we
is
can't really see very well right now.
So this is my. I don't even know. My unit of Dothraki Screamers. And so they come on a base. There's 4 slots for them. Health in this game is measured by how many units are on the board. And so a standard tray here, which you can now see, these are my Unsullied.
I never thought I'd be touching a tray-based miniatures game, Zach.
We've
oh my
come
gosh.
A long way.
Can you imagine?
There's 12 slots, so they have 12 health. And then the Dothraki Screamers only have 4 slots, so each of them, they actually have an ability on them that gives them 3 health. So they're each worth 3 health. So if I lose 1, I've taken 3 damage.
Right.
Another thing is that all of these operate, you'll see an arrow in the front. That's kind of their front arc. But basically, when you lose units and you're taking damage, you go from the back right. And so like on the Unsullied is a better example. If I took 5, I would take these 4 in the back off and then this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then it basically goes until you get to my most important unit in the top left corner, which will be the last one. So like this is my commanders on this Dothraki Screamers. It's Khal Drogo, of course.
Yeah, wow. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, shocker. The Dothraki ride again.
Pretty creative army builder over here. Yeah.
I mean, well, you know what's crazy? It's cool. So, first off, I just want to shout out Pete in the chat and CMON for sending this over. I've had an interest in this for a long time. I think Pete knew I was waiting on the Targaryens. They hooked us up when Isolation hit. They knew we were streaming a lot, and then here we are playing it. But Targaryen's more recent. So literally, I think they like that has several expansions involved.
Check
on
this
the
out,
wild in
everybody.
front. That giant looks fantastic.
Check out this giant. This is the coolest model. It's so cool.
He's got that giant, like, what do you even call that?
A club.
It's like a giant stone on the end of a stick. Sticks and stones, man.
Really classic giant club, to be honest with you. He's got some pokey things sticking out. They didn't spend all their R&D on the club. It was mainly the marching that they spent their most of their time on.
That's right.
Real quick, so let's talk a little bit about a couple of things this game does, just from the fundamental technical realities of this industry. So one, it's a tray-based miniatures game. And as we were just musing, what? I never thought that would be a thing that I ever had any interest in whatsoever. So the question you got to ask yourself is why trays? So was it Warhammer Fantasy that essentially folded and that caused a stir and people were kind of looking to maybe fill in that role? I think Ruin Wars tried to do the same thing.
And I think,
is that the Fantasy Flight
I think
one?
it was the FFG one. So even way back before that, right, you have Warhammer 40K, which is a miniatures game where all these guys would just be on the table.
Right.
And that's usually marked by, like, you have a literal tape measure. And it's like, okay, these guys can move 8 inches. And it's like, I move this guy 8 inches, I move this guy 8 inches, I move this guy 8 inches. And, like, you know, you do that whole thing. And it's meant to feel like a big army marching, which this gives you, it's just streamlined, right? So it's like these guys move. And this is my unit of Unsullied Swordmasters. And they have a little speed stat of 6. So they send this. I think this is very clever. They do a lot of clever things the way they package this product.
This has all been very clever. Yes.
But this is it has a short range and a long range measuring measure on it. So the short is half of it, long is the whole thing. On the flip side, it's literally marked 1 inch at a time, and it's also themed after Targaryen, which I like. It came in the Targ box. You got the same thing with Wildling, but they move 6. So like literally when these guys are moving,
I'll zoom in for you.
Yep. When they're moving, and I'll put the Unsullied here. You know, I just basically put it here, and they move 6 straight. Mm-hmm. And before they move, they can literally pivot any way they want. But then they just move 6 straight. And when they get done moving, they can pivot again any way they want.
Right.
And if they ever come into base-to-base contact with you, they snap to you.
They snap up,
yeah,
right?
And there's a very clean rule for doing that. But basically, you can imagine, like, the movement on that, it's not as precise as everyone moving 6 inches, every one of these units, and then where they're at matters. Because normally it'd be like, I want this guy right behind this cover, and I need this guy behind him so you can't see him, or whatever that is.
But that's what it's supposed to. That's what it's supposed to be. So the answer to why trays is you can have a ton. You can feel like you have these giant armies clashing, without all the fiddliness and tediousness of moving each individual model.
Yep.
It's also really clever because you have a way to mark. It's basically slightly zoomed out. It's funny because a lot of the traditional miniatures rules really are most fitting for skirmish style games, which we've seen a lot of those erupt over the past few years, in that you have very specific control over individual models. But with a game like this and with trays, you really are supposed to be zoomed out. I imagine it like a lot of computer games that do this when you go into this fight, section of the medieval, like realm management game, like Knights of the Realm and those kinds of things. Man, that's an old game from my past. I can't believe I just remembered that. So you would literally just have giant blocks of archers and mace people and horse, cavalry or whatever, and you click on them and it selects the whole thing, and you tell that giant unit where to go, and go fight those guys or go flank that thing. And so you're thinking of it in terms of giant blocks of units rather than individual models, and it helps to do that. So it's very easy to move these trays, one at a time is really tedious at that point. And it also, you can mark the health, right? So like the unit is the healthy or not healthy. It's not about whether you lost this spearman or that spearman. It's about the fact that they're in good fighting shape, or they've taken some damage, or they're about to run away because they're terrified and they're getting wrecked by some Dothraki. So there's a lot of good reasons for trays. Reasons to not do trays is that it feels a little archaic at first glance. It's like, oh, what? Trays? This doesn't make any sense. It snaps in pretty quickly, I will say, after just kind of messing with it early on. And also, a lot of the time, you had to, you're needing to paint all of these models, right? And that's fine for hobbyists that are really into that. That's fine. When I was getting into Skytear, I was like, okay, well, at least it's only a few heroes that I've got to paint, I know. So it is a lot that you're going to need to commit to paint up all of this. Now, once you do that, it's going to look phenomenal on the table.
Oh,
so
sure.
this is I feel like it's a high ceiling, high reward kind of experience, though, like most hobby games are, but at least you don't have to put them together. Can you imagine?
That's a lot of work, man.
And honestly, looking at these models, I don't know why we would ever construct models again. Can you, if I can get this quality without having to glue anything, why would I ever do it?
I'm with you. I mean,
it's settled.
Probably
then.
the thing I like least about tabletop gaming ever is when I have to assemble models. Like, I strongly dislike it. And it's worth pointing out, we're playing a 30-point game here, and that's the small version of the game. So you can technically play up to 50, which would be like 60% bigger than this. Mm-hmm. And on that map, you would go 4x4.
It's 4x4, 4x6. I've heard in the chat.
Oh, 4
too.
by
A lot of
6.
people do 4x6.
That's a lot, but I'm into it. I get it. Other cool things that I thought I didn't really know until I broke into this, and people were asking, do we have the physical rules? There's an app that you can build on, and there's digital rules, and apparently the panic rule, which is one of the things that happens, is majorly updated. So if someone wants to explain that in chat,
we won't panic.
We'll use the new thing. They said it's like way better from whatever's printed in the rule book, which is cool to see that they're paying that much attention. Other things I noted this morning when I was reading through the rules and looking at the various stuff, the printed rule book has 5 different ways to play, which is really cool. One's like protecting your castle, one's like a siege scenario.
Ooh, I love that stuff.
So we're going to be playing the Game of Thrones standard kind of play on a little bit more of a condensed map, and we're going to be working our way through the rules. So if you're new or you've been wanting to see what it's like to learn, this is a critical part of the tabletop process to me, which is like you can watch all the videos you want, but like until you actually are executing on a game.
Right.
And so hopefully this is helpful to help you execute when you get to that point.
That's the thing. You can watch Rodney, who's he can produce an
that
immaculate rules video, and that's very helpful. And then you can watch two real people making a lot of mistakes that you might also make as you go along. So the power combo of Zach and I's inexperience and learning process combined with somebody like Rodney giving you the hard, fast, and accurate rules is a pretty powerful combination. So hopefully working together we can achieve greatness. Also, the other thing about this kind of a game, and I think this is just notable from an industry perspective, you're talking about the different factions, right? Stark and Lannister, if you don't like those factions, you might not buy that starter box. You might never start playing the game.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. And then when the Wildling expansion comes out, how many of your player base of Song of Ice and Fire Miniatures players want to play the Wildlings? This is what we saw with War Machine. We saw it when we were stocking all these different games.
Yeah.
Retail stores now have to stock all of these SKUs, and you're splitting your player base into like 6 or 7 different pieces. So now one release only applies to 1/7 of people who might actually want to buy it when you put out that new Wildling model.
Yeah.
And I think that's a struggle that traditional miniatures games have yet to really overcome. We see Skytier is packaging it where the cards are relevant to other things and they're not super expensive.
Well,
so
and
you
each
don't
hero
feel
kind of plays
too
2
bad.
of the factions.
You can kind of universally mix it. God Tier was the same way, where any model, you pick 3 models and there's no factions where you can use them. And so a lot of people trying to find a way to make retail releases universally interesting to the entire player base instead of factioning off your players into different sections. But this one, I don't think you can get around it. I mean, Game of Thrones, the card game, the same problem, right?
I don't think Game of Thrones can get around it.
It can't. The factions are why you participate,
Just
right?
the way it's built.
Put your banner
now,
up.
they did release some like non-faction specific expansions, which is cool because I assume that's applicable to everybody. It comes with certain heroes and certain things that like anybody could recruit these people or anybody could hire these people. But the other thing they did that was at least good to that point is that each faction got a starter box that's come out. So there's a Wildling starter box.
Yep.
So if you're basically the expectation is anyone that already plays is obviously going to get some extra cardboard that they don't necessarily need. But even that, it's all they get the dice for the Wildlands. You get the measuring ruler for the Wildlands. Also the terrain, like these trees that I'll just show them up top, came with a Wildland expansion specifically, and it's the Weirwood trees. On the flip side is a pile of bodies up
That's
north.
so cool,
That's what's happening.
I like that.
So it's terrain that's themed after the faction that you're playing. So I think as a starter product, they did a really good job. But again, I want to say it's like $90, $100 for a starter for each faction. So if you have 7, 8, 9, 10 factions, it's kind of a push-pull where like most players probably that are really into the game probably playing a couple, like 1 to 3 factions, and then new players are only going to buy 1. So then you do have that problem, which is just like skew glut. But there's pluses and minuses to that in general. But as a player for myself, I would only ever be buying the Targ stuff. And so like
you might get 1 release a year. I mean, I don't know what their schedule is.
I assume that factions build up, and then at that point you're getting a release a year. And the other problem with the universe, which we saw with the Game of Thrones card game, is like at some point you've covered the books. Like there's only so many things to be doing.
K.H. McClure was asking, this is book-based, not series-based, right?
That's particularly called Song of Ice and Fire for that reason, based on the books. Like even if we look at...
Which at this point is actually notably important.
Yeah, because the show, well, it failed. But like, Danny here, the model that I have, doesn't look like Amelia Clark's version of Daenerys at all. It very much feels like the books. She looks a little younger and just has the book look. Same with Khal Drogo, right? Not looking like Khal Caldrogo necessarily, but look at that model.
I mean, it looks. That's what I mean. Like, I'm never constructing a model again. I'll just start protesting. Tom McCall, is tonight's game going to be rated PG? Yes, unless there are things we don't know. We're not going to be popping anything on the screen. This is just going to be us battling it out on the table. It's not assets that we just didn't have the capability to get in the system. So it's going to be a traditional miniatures game. We're just going to play it through, have a good time with it. You want to get started?
Yeah, so I'm going to read through the setup of this because there's some stuff we haven't quite done yet.
All right, we're going to the table. Now, don't worry. We've got Zach, so we're going to have one unit that you can't really see up front, but we will clear it out very quickly and be good.
Yeah. Also, I heard that the Dothraki really need some room to roam, so this could be hilarious.
Just first turn. Boom.
Dude, you trap some horse lords, and they'll get devoured by those wildlings. Also, this is one of the really cool things about this. Obviously, in this game, in the show, in the books, you don't necessarily get to see every faction fighting every faction because they're on separate sides of the world. So there's literally no part so far where the Dothraki are fighting the wildlings, which is cool because we just get to play what happens if they did roam north for some reason after they cross the sea. All right, a Game of Thrones, the scenario, not the show. Deployment, short range each side. So technically we would each deploy our armies within the short range of the edge of the board.
Short?
Let me find it.
Long.
Which we've done. Setup, place one objective token, which is this, in the center of the table.
Looks like the center to me, yeah.
Now, we're not going to end up putting all 5 because there's no way we have space. And it says each player rolls a die. Hit me with it. I got a 4.
2.
I got higher. Whoever rolls highest places one objective token anywhere on the battlefield at least 12 inches, which is long range, from any deployment zone. So let's just go ahead and measure it. That's literally this band right here. So that's fun. And it says, we'll just use short range on that. At least short range from any other objective token. So it's got to be a short range from this, short range from the edge.
Okay, so we're just putting more objective tokens on the board?
We're going to alternate until all of those
situation.
are in play.
Can we just mirror some?
Yeah, I'm just going to do this. And you just want to
make
put them out here.
the old power star of objectives, basically.
You got it. Okay. And then it says objective tokens may not be placed on terrain pieces with the impassable keyword. How do we know what keywords the terrain have? That wasn't printed anywhere.
Let me look at it. Pile of bodies, probably impassable. I wouldn't want to walk over them.
I bet you impassable is like a wall.
Like I can definitely. I mean, I can't walk through a tree, but I can walk through around a tree.
We can walk really close to it. You know what I mean? Special rules: before deployment, randomly draw.
Yeah, we can solve this problem.
One card from the objective deck and place it face up near each objective. So you have an objective deck. Well, you go ahead and you just use yours if you don't mind. Shuffle those up. So you're basically going to randomize face down. One of those cards is going to go next to each of those objectives, and that's what that objective is going to do. A unit ending a move, and this is really, again, they lean towards streamlined everywhere. A unit ending a move with any part of its tray on a token claims it. While touching the token, it controls that token. Each token may only be controlled by one unit at a time. If multiple units are touching the token, only the first one that contacted it counts. If the unit controlling the token is destroyed in melee, the unit that destroyed it claims the token, so you steal it. If a unit moves off of a token it is controlling for any reason, it stops controlling that token. Beginning on round 2, players score 1 victory point for each token they control at the end of the round.
And we claim this card to be, we're first to the party, we get the card?
Once you get there, you get to see what that token does that, no matter what it's doing. But once you get there, you learn what that token's doing.
Is that public info at that point?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put these
People
out
saying
here.
terrain rules near the back of the rulebook. Let's see if we can find them. That's totally fine. And there it is, terrain. Okay.
And if we got some new people watching, we've been streaming for 16 weeks every day. That's right, 16?
Yep.
It's insane. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
This is at least 17.
17 weeks we've been doing
I'm losing count.
So if you're joining us for the first time, we just want to officially welcome you. This is not a kind of like everything's going to be perfect and the rules are going to be airtight kind of a stream. This is essentially what we're trying to recreate here. Is just the feeling if you go into your local game store and you see some people playing Song of Ice and Fire and they're learning the game and you watch them. And that's essentially what this is. So if you're bothered by us not knowing every particular rule and whatnot, this is not the right video for you. But if you want to have a good time with us and hang out with us in the chat and hang out with everybody else in the chat, then please do so.
And chat's super helpful. So like obviously there's people on chat right now that have played the game. So they will probably help with the rules. They're already helping with the panic. I haven't read the thing, but they're recommending that we take some of this terrain off because it's way too much terrain for this small of a board.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the trees off. just to remove the biggest
I want one tree.
All right, we're going to do one tree. Let's do one tree in the middle. One tree hill.
Okay, boom. Tree in the middle. The classic miniatures game setup, really.
All right.
And then I got some walls, you know, because I was ready for you.
So if you look, there's this nice terrain examples thing in the back. The wall, the palisade here, blocks line of sight and is impassable, is what that says. Same here. So apparently it's impassable. The tree is inspiring.
I thought so.
That's
Here,
it.
wait a minute. Hold on. Why don't we do this?
Inspiring, just so we're
Why
aware.
don't we do this? Nobody has walls. This is a random encounter. What if we just had a couple of trees?
All right, 2 trees.
We're just in the wild.
So the
we're in
trees are
wilds.
inspiring. If you're within short range of the terrain piece, you get +1 to your morale test.
Ah, so it's a peaceful
That's it.
tree-based battle.
And it's not like if I'm behind it, I get cover. It's not slow. It's
Can
like,
we go through them?
You can go through them. The rules on the terrain are very simple. And it's like this is only inspiring. That's all it does.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
And can someone hit us with the updated panic rules just so we know what that is going in? And I'm gonna break down kind of what we do on a turn. But again, it's just it's simple. It's good.
David Wilford, you're awesome on Facebook. Says this streaming is exactly what all of us need right now. Hope to meet you guys after this COVID thing, and thank you for your service to the gaming community. Much love. Well, hey, thanks for being here. We appreciate you. That's all of you.
Absolutely.
We're truly appreciative of you
And
being here.
I'm so excited to be able to get back together in person.
I want to be around human beings again.
I feel like that first month after we're
Not
back,
saying a lot about Zach, I guess, is it?
right? I am a robot.
I want to be around humans
I was
again.
just learning.
Well, what about
me? So when we can, when we can actually get together in person again, I feel like our store is going to be just a 3-month-long party. Like people coming in from
24/7.
out of town, every weekend is just going to be like a jam.
24/7. We'll get
Yeah.
some of those little frozen or cold sandwiches we can sell, and everyone will just stay in and won't have to leave.
All right, on the table gaming, you've been really helpful. It says roll 2d6
Plus a D3.
Plus a
That's just a
D3.
coin flip.
at the same time for panic.
No,
if
that's
you
one out of
fail,
3. It's expressly not a coin.
if you fail, then you take D3 in wounds +1. So you literally take 2d6. The white dice, by the way, is a d3, apparently. Is that what you rolled for our CHO?
Yeah, I kind of handicapped myself.
So, like, you know, on my Dothraki Screamers, my morale is a 6. So I'd have to get lower than a 6 across 3 dice. Is that a 6 or a 1? That's a 6. So, like, it's so hard to fail.
Yeah, no, yeah. You're on horses. You're not scared.
So it's just a little bit of a risk. You can imagine, though. You hit triple snakes.
Well, so this is the kind of mechanic you add to a game to make sure it doesn't get too linear or too analytical, right? You got to have a random, oops, things happened in war, and now I got to deal with it.
The D3, it's like the penalty for being attacked. The D3 is apparently not added on the first roll. So if you fail, you take a D3 +1. Normally, it would be you take 1 for every one you fail by.
Oh,
So
okay.
like you snake eyes, you lose 4.
Yeah, you don't want that.
But now if you fail, you're going to take 1 or 2 to 4.
I mean, that makes sense. So as an example, my free folk raiders, they have to hit 8+. So if you snake eyes that, you're losing 6 models, and
It's
that's
too
like
many.
probably the end of the game.
Yeah, that's too much of a range. Okay, so during our activation phase, basically the game's played in rounds, and we're going to mark the rounds on this round counter up here. And it's obviously round 1. During the round, we trigger any start of turn effects, and then starting with the first player, which I believe was me, we pick a unit to activate.
After that D3
Yeah,
it was.
I don't know. So I obviously have 3 units here. We also have what are called non-fighting units, right? I have Daenerys and Illyrio up here, and they are going to work on this tactics board, which is
I've got
really cool.
Mance.
And so you basically choose a unit, and if you choose a combat unit, they get to do one thing, right? And there's a handful of things they can do. They can maneuver, which is before they go, they can pivot. So they basically stay in place, but they can rotate however they want. Then they get to move their speed.
Straight line. Boom.
Straight line.
Zoom.
And then when they end, they can pivot again. They can also march, which is they don't get a pivot, but they get to move twice their speed. And then after they're done moving, then they get to pivot. They can also charge, which is they can pivot. Then they get to move their speed, but they before they move, they roll a d6. And so like I hit a 4, so it'd be my speed plus 4 inches. And then immediately after, they get to make an attack.
That's cool, because that means you could do a failed charge.
You absolutely can fail at
Yeah,
charging.
Cool.
And then you have a standard melee attack. So if you're engaged with someone, and let's just do an example of this real quick. You want to hand me one of your units. So let's just put them like right there.
Treyon.
If you were there, let's say I was here with my Unsullied. So when they move, right, they're going in a straight line. They would hit, and now they're going to do what's called snapping. So there's not going to be any pivoting or whatever. And you basically look, and it's like where is the majority of my base in contact with you, and obviously this side is more in contact. So when they snap, they can snap in a couple ways. They can snap where they're halfway, basically this arrow in the middle.
Yeah.
Or they can snap where they're fully engaged.
And it just depends on how much of your unit is overlapping, basically.
You get a pick.
When you snap them.
When you snap. So snapping like this means that I have half, that someone else could come snap to you and still attack you. But if they do this, and it is inverse too, right? Because like this side of these guys is still open.
Right.
So maybe I just want to be fully engaged with you, and that's what's happening. Now, if I was coming from here, and I connected with you, obviously now I can snap to here, halfway, or fully like this. And you can imagine that like attacking from the side is better. There's going to be modifications for that. Attacking from the rear is even better.
Yeah, definitely.
It's even crazier.
We call that flanking in the business, don't we?
Yep.
I've been around the block in these miniatures games a few times.
Tim is saying, do people base their trays in the game? I've seen pictures of these painted, and people definitely go all out. So like they'll have the bases of their models match the base that they put on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it just looks like they're on like a field of battle.
Sense. Yeah. Now, you also notice what I've done, I've been exceedingly clever here because I'm more of a fastidious gamer than Zach is. I noticed that I'm looking at all of my units, and this is a big problem for me with minis games starting out, is like I look over here and I really don't know who's who or what's what. So I put a red die on this unit tray, and it's corresponding to a red die on my character card over here off the screen. And then similarly, the white die is corresponding to this unit, and then the blue is there. So that's a little hot tip in case you ever need to do that. It's an easy way for me to say, oh, blue, blue, okay, so I read this card whenever this unit's going, and that's helpful. Zach only has like horse people and some
Unsullied.
Some
very,
Unsullied,
very
so,
clear.
Yeah, it should be obvious.
So another thing that you have is there's a 14-card tactics deck for your faction. So like Targaryen has one, Wildlings have one, and then your commander. So you get to pick one commander, and so mine's Khal Drogo, and he doesn't actually, your commander, it's marked with this like red C, but they don't cost you any points. And each of these models, like my Dothraki Screamers on the back, have a 6 with a golden circle, and that's their point cost. And then apparently the app itself, they adjust these points over time. Like you.
Cool. Okay, so they did it. They gave me the infinity treatment.
But we have a tactics deck, and you start with 3 of those cards in your hand. I don't even know that I'll play any on the first turn, but they're there in case we get frisky. So on your turn, you get to activate a unit. They get to do one thing, and I don't think I made it all the way through. They charge, they can melee attack, they can ranged attack. So when you melee attack, you can shift, change your facing, and then attack. When you ranged attack, you can shift up to 2 inches. So it's kind of like a movement for 2.
Nice. You do a little strafe.
Then you attack, and then you can also retreat. So if you're engaged and you want to get unengaged, you actually move your speed plus a d6, and you basically move away. So you can move backwards, you can move sideways. If they're behind you, you can actually move forward instead. But that basically just lets you get out of wherever you're at, and then you can pivot, of course.
Very cool. Okay. So we can basically do everything we need to do. We can move faster, which is the march. We can move and then attack, which is the charge. We can normally attack if we're engaged. We can range attack if we're at range. And then if we are engaged, we can retreat to get out of range.
Yep, that's about it.
Well, that seems easy.
And then, so what I'm going to do, I'll just go ahead and go so we can see what this would look like. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my Unsullied. And now my Unsullied, let me find them. This is actually mixed up.
While you're moving, I'm going to grab some coffee.
Yep. Reload.
Do you need any?
And I'm good. If I want to sleep at some point in my life. This morning was...
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
I've had it. That's right. I've been saying that a lot lately. When you were gone, people were like, when do you get a break, Zach? And I was like, one of my favorite quotes is, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
That's right.
So my Unsullied Swordmasters here have the Unsullied Officer on them. I'm just going to read it down real quick. So I'm not going to read all the stats. We'll get to that. But they have a 6 speed. They have Unsullied Prowess Precision. Hits from rolls of 6 do not allow defense save. So when they hit you with a 6, you can't do anything about it. They can never gain condition tokens.
Okay.
They're Unsullied. They feel nothing.
You feel nothing.
The Unsullied Officer has Order Relentless at the start of a friendly turn. Instead of activating a unit, this unit makes 1 free attack action.
Okay.
So at the start
That's
of
nice.
a round. So the turn is not the activations. Let me see. Let me make sure that's correct.
I like the idea of you just surprising me with what you can do.
Yeah, so like at the very beginning, before anything happens, I can basically get a free attack action with the Unsullied because they're gangsters. So I'm going to go ahead and go with them. They move for 6, so we're going to do our first movement.
Now we need to make a decision. So West Coast Bannerman here, very aptly named, saying in a full game, the 4 tokens would also have objectives. So we do have those objective cards. I just kind of moved them off the board. But the question is, like, it's apparently for starting, just having one in the center is the best thing for learning, just having the one objective card in the center. So do you just want to have the one there rather than having the 5?
That's fine.
Five?
Yeah, we'll just act like these aren't here for now.
All right. I'm going to look at one. Yeah.
What's it say? Let's just see.
So it says when you claim this objective, target one enemy NCU, non-combat unit, I think is what that means.
Yep.
Wow. I can't believe that actually worked. While you control this objective, that NCU loses all abilities. So that would be your little commanders or your little tacticians over here.
Yep.
Yeah? Lose your abilities.
Apparently, West Coast saying you flip it at the very beginning.
All right.
So
Let's
we'll
see
just
what it
flip
does.
what the middle one is. When you score points from this objective, you may have one enemy combat unit become vulnerable and weakened. Vulnerable, expend this token after an enemy rolls defense dice to force them to re-roll any/all of those defense dice. How does that work?
And this is something that I absolutely love. So the conditions, whenever you have a condition on your army, negative condition, your opponent decides when to trigger that condition to make it the worst for you.
That makes sense.
It's the right way to do it. Just the right way to do it.
And then weakened is expend this token after any enemy rolls attack dice to force them to re-roll any of those dice. So that's
you
really
can
good.
trigger my weakened token and make me re-roll on a good roll that I've gotten.
Okay, well let's party.
Yeah,
shall
sure.
we?
Let's just go smash some stuff
shan't
up,
we?
shall we?
I positioned very poorly for this, but we're gonna do it. Why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
I'm gonna go with my Khal Drogo is my commander. People were asking.
Cool. Okay, so
Oh,
these objectives
wow.
all get really fascinating. Very, very cool.
I'm gonna go with my over here from downtown, my Jorah Mormont. He's on one of these Dothraki screamers, and it says at the start of this unit's activation, it may make a free maneuver.
Oh,
They're fast.
yeah, come on in.
So I'm gonna pivot here.
You can clip that corner. Illegal play.
Out of the game, DQ'd. And then they're going to take their free maneuver, and so they move for 6. So I'll just put this
Are we going
down.
to try to play around the tactics board, or are we going to have to just
We can play on top of it.
get it off the table?
And we can move it off screen if it matters. So they'll move 6 there, free maneuver.
Right past. Who is that over there?
Jorah?
No, Illyrio. Is that Illyrio?
Yeah, it's Illyrio. he's rolling, man.
What are these horsemen doing?
Then, for my next trick, I'm going to, you can measure it any time in this game.
Yeah, important note, West Coast helping us out tremendously. You need to completely cover the token to claim/control it, and you need to have more ranks than enemies engage with you to keep it. More ranks. than
Okay, so
enemies engage with
I
you
have
to
2
keep.
ranks.
Okay.
If you engage me with 3,
So your armies are better at controlling objectives, seemingly.
which makes sense.
Unless your ranks are like supercharged in some rule. That
So
we
then they're going to
appreciate.
do as their actual action a march, which is twice their speed, which is they can move 12. So I'm going to go ahead and move 12.
12 is twice their speed of 6.
Yeah, which is here. And
They're
so now-
inspired by that tree now. Oh, now you're on the objective.
and I'm just going to leave that token there, but I'm going to take this card
Okay.
to show that I have it. And you don't score points at the end of the round. So if I have that at the end of the round, I get to make an enemy unit vulnerable and weakened.
Okay.
And then I'm going to mark them with one of these here flags as having gone, so that you can tell that they have gone. And that's my turn.
That's your turn, huh?
Yep.
All right. Well, I've got all sorts of stuff to do here. You wouldn't believe what's about to happen. Where's Tormund? See, I've got my system here. Tormund is red. Okay.
And Tormund Giantsbane is your commander for people. People were
Tormund
asking that.
is my commander.
I love Tormund in the show.
And what I really want to do is I want to find a way to charge you. You know what I mean? But you'll notice, like, even if I, like, pivot, right? Like, can I get in there? I can totally get in there, yeah? How much of a pivot? What's the pivot
So
officially?
I think
Do I choose a corner and
pivot
pivot off of it?
technically is like you would keep the center centered,
Okay.
and then you could rotate it.
I see you have a little notch there. I wonder if they have little
think-
pivot tools.
I doubt it. I don't. This is not like.
And you can't move through your own stuff? As a rule?
I don't
right?
know.
That'd be impossible, right? There's armies. You
Oh,
can't.
you could let an army by.
No. You can't
I know you
send one
can't
army
see
through
through
another
them.
army.
So like if you have archers and I was here and you were here, right? It's like if you can't draw a line from your front arc to the thing you're trying to hit, that's the only measuring. So like the front arc is facing this way, so like they could draw a straight line to any of these things. They can see all those guys.
Right on. Okay, well, why don't we do one of my favorite things, which is activate the old skin changer. Skin changer spear people, right? Spears are good against horses, so I don't see a reason why we wouldn't use them.
Yeah.
So we're going to have them charge you. So their move is a 5. Now let me see if I can measure this, right?
Yep.
So their move is a 5, and they're going to roll a d6. So if they get like a 3, they'll successfully charge.
It looks like a 3 would get you there. An 8 might be a little short. I can't see.
Oh, I'm going to hit that corner. Don't you worry.
I'm going to hit it.
Don't you worry. I'm going to get that corner.
Let me find the charge rule.
So I might successfully charge or I might fail a charge, which is fascinating.
I like that you can fail.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. PogChamp saying you can move through them, but you can't touch by the end of the movement.
Okay, so you can hop through.
Yeah. And Nathan's saying they're absolutely pivot tools. I probably would use like a toothpick or something. Okay. Can pivot before rolling. 3 looks good, yes.
I feel like what you really want is there to be a hole in the middle.
Yeah.
So you can like put something in there.
That's right. That's the pivot tool we're talking about.
So now, are you bringing Torment in first?
I want to, but I'm not going to. I just wanted to see. I just wanted to make sure I could do it. Okay, so here we go. Spear's in. So I'm going to roll a d6, one that actually has 6 sides on it.
You have your green dice there, right?
Oh, right.
You got the wildling dice. You get the wildling symbol, get that 6, you know? A 4. So your movement's a 6?
So my movement is a 5. That's the little foot stat, right?
That's right. So you can
plus
move
4, so I move 9. And it's got to be, you know.
On the table saying, pro tip, if you make noises while you move your bear, he'll be better.
Oh, yeah.
Bear noises. Just bear noises.
All right, so I hit your corner.
Yep.
What happens now?
So now you snap, right?
Now do I snap to the side?
Yes. So basically, whichever side has more past this point. Mm-hmm. So like you can't snap this direction because it's that little bit. So it's there. And then you basically, when you're on the side, you either go half snap or full snap. Yep.
I can do this.
Now that will put you over on top of that objective token, so that seems good.
I'm not fully covering it though.
Oh, you're definitely covering that objective.
But not fully. It says you have to fully cover it.
You can see it over there?
I can see it.
I can't see it.
I can fix that problem right now.
It's gone. 1 point for the good guys.
So if I snap fully, well, no, let's not snap fully. We'll give your horses a chance to come in here and defend your flank. And if you don't, maybe I can swing Tormund in to cause some trouble for you. Why wouldn't you, right?
I mean, right?
Okay, so that's a successful charge. I have some things to do with that.
Can you do anything?
Yeah.
After you successfully charge something?
Rush of Aggression. When a friendly unit successfully charges, roll +2 dice. If it's Tormund's unit, the defender also becomes vulnerable, but it's not Tormund's
I see why
unit.
you wanted to do that now.
Now you understand.
Okay, so on the Spearwives, this is one of the coolest moments or coolest things about this game to me. They have the crude spear attack, which is 4 plus. So you have to, successes are hitting a 4 or more on your dice. And then basically the amount of attack dice you get is based on the number of rows of characters in the unit still. So if you have your max, it's a 7. If you lose your first row, it's still a 7, so they're pretty good. But once you're down to a single row, they're only a 3. So you're going to roll 7 dice, and you can go and grab those if you want.
Question. Can I snap like this?
I think so.
I think that's what Nathan was saying. You can also do 50% on the far side. I mean, that's cool. So no matter, you just choose the side and then you can do 50% or 100% in any direction?
Either direction.
Okay.
It's just super clean.
Yeah, awesome. Great, guys. Thank you. All right, that's way better. Now Tormund's like ready for you. His horses are done. Okay, so my attack status, now to get into what you were saying. I have my crude spear attack, which is what I want to use because it's a melee attack. It has 4+ next to it on the card, so that means 4 and greater are going to be successes here. And what you were talking about earlier, like the idea that you get worse as you lose ranks. So you have 3 numbers. The first number tells you if it's a full rank. The second number is if you've lost one.
It goes from green to red. And the other thing is there are units that get better the more damage they get. They get angry. I saw one of those in a video I was watching where it's like, it was actually like 5, 7, 9. So it's like once you get down to like the last guy, he's like real mad about it.
Very cool. I'm already mad. Okay, so I have 4+ and I roll 7 dice.
Yep.
2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I had +2 on the charge per my Rush of Aggression.
Yep.
So we'll throw that out of the game.
I got to read my tactics card now.
Yeah. So then I'm rolling dice. 4s or greater are going to be successes here.
All right, so go ahead and pile up your successes.
Count them up. That's a big amount of successes. That is 6 successes out of 9.
Okay, and then if I look at my Dothraki Screamers, they've got a defense value of 5+.
Screaming now.
So I have to roll a die for every hit that I'm taking, and I basically prevent a wound for every die that comes up 5 or better. Now you're attacking me.
Ah, you reroll misses on the charge.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
One more.
So I'll throw one extra. And then I believe because you're attacking me from my flank, my defense rolls are actually -1.
Is that considered your flank?
My side.
Your back side?
The back is -2.
Ooh.
The side is -1. And so normally I would have to roll a 5, but because I'm -1, now the only thing that saves me is a 6.
Is a 6. Ooh. Here we go. All right.
I'm going to give Chad a chance to catch that before I commit to this roll.
You're about to get horsed. Now, here's a question that I have for you guys out there. A lot of good players in the chat here. So the Horse Lords have 3 health. So if I do 2 damage, is that tracked in any way, or does it go away at the end of my activation, at the end of the turn? Those kind of, does it float at all with those horses?
I assume it doesn't float, because that would be a weird
There's no mechanism to do it
to
effectively,
test.
right?
But
I think
maybe
you've got to do all horse or no horse. I don't think there's like a, I kind of injured the horse.
They're going to answer that in a second, but they're...
Oh, wound tokens, yes.
Okay, so the hearts? All
Boom.
right. All right, so here we go. I'm going to roll 7. I need 6s. This could be really rad. I got 1.
All right.
Which is great.
So if we knock one of these out, take 6 wounds.
So I take 6. Now they do have... Okay, yep. They do have 3 health per unit, so I'm going to literally start with the back right, remove 1, and remove 1.
Just like that. Horse is gone.
Just like that.
Cool.
And then because I had an attack, I take a panic test. So I'll roll 2d6.
And what's your stat you got to
I
get
need
over?
a 6 or more on my morale
6 or more
stat.
on 2d6. That's easy. Okay.
I beat it, so I'm fine.
They're unworried about it.
Okay, and that's your activation, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Cool.
All right, let me see.
Hey, this is very thematic, man. This is super fun. Like, you can already tell the mechanics are really clean for a minis game.
Absolutely.
Am I going to play a game with trays involved?
Here we are.
And then apparently the flanking thing applies to the morale test too, it looks like. That might not be true. We'll see. Defender suffers -1 to defense, save, and panic test. Yeah, so it's -1 to all. So, okay. So flank is actually side, and rear is actually a term. It's called rear.
Rear.
Quit giggling out there. I hear you. And then the D3 is only used if you fail, right? You fail, you roll the D3, and that determines how many wounds you take. Oh, we actually got a spammer type on Twitch saying if we want to be famous, we can buy followers.
I want to be famous on Instagram.
If you thought we were interested in getting views, you clearly didn't see our Mythos CCG stream.
All right, here's what I'm going to do.
in that ad money.
I'm going to show off another thing you can do. So you can go with one of your non-combat units. So I have Illyrio Mopatis. Once per game, when Illyrio claims the zone on the tactics board, I can replace it. I'm not going to, but I'm going to play him. And I basically put him on the tactics board. So I'm going to trigger this one with like the bag of money on it. That seems like something he would do. And it says restore up to 3 wounds and remove 1 condition token from a unit. So I'm going to restore 3 wounds from my Dothraki Outriders. And he's going to reinforce that.
Say what? You just got that? Oh,
putting
right
him on
on.
that
Yeah,
space.
that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. You bring a horse back. Bringing horsey back.
I'm bringing horses back. And that's my turn.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh man, you can't pay for this kind of content, guys. I guess that's literally true.
You can technically. So let me tell you about our content memberships on our website. $20 a month. It allows us to do things like, I don't know, stream the Mythos CCG or the Song of Ice and Fire's miniatures game. And it means the world to us because the world's crazy right now, and the people that have been willing to step up and do that have allowed us to stream for 17 weeks in a row, 5 days a week, going places we never thought we'd go, including right here.
Okay.
King Zeracol says, well done, Zach. This is exactly what I would have done.
Very nice.
I haven't told Steven, but I've played this game 82 times.
Also, I wanted to shout out here, we had... who was it that said this? Spencer Barnes. I want to shout you out on YouTube. My brother and I went halvesies on the Arkham Horror tokens and trays. They look amazing.
Hey,
so
that's
good.
awesome.
Unrelated to this particular
By the
stream.
way, I'm realizing how much of my perspective on the cost of games was shaped by the fact that I usually played with 2 to 4 people.
Yeah.
So like almost always you,
Always
me,
split
Tim, and Will would share some combination of those people. Doing the Flesh and Blood TCG, I felt like that, where it's like, we're like 2 people getting getting to play with this. So I don't know. That's definitely shaped my mentality on all this.
Well, you had the burden of friendship was large. All right, so I think Tormund's going to get a piece of these horse people as well. I say horse people like that from that Harry Potter wizard people thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll whisper it to my horses. Okay, this is a unit. Okay, now what is its movement? Its movement is 5, just like all things probably that are on foot that aren't particularly excited.
Yeah, my horsies go 6. Although my Unsullied goes 6 because they're monsters.
So actually this would be quite a charge for me to pull off.
Dana says, "Are you going to crack some more Keyforge decks and stream them live?" Yeah,
next week.
We did it last week as well. If you missed that, we opened a display of Keyforge, and then next week we're coming back. I think it's on Wednesday.
Okay, so it seems like the bear is actually a safer move than Tormund. So maybe. Oh, wait, I need to learn what the bear even does. Are you reading my bear for me?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't activate as normal. Instead, when its bonded skin creature activates, this unit activates immediately after them. The start of any round if this unit is not within long range. Okay, so I could have done that last turn, yeah?
Yeah, you should have gone with the bear.
Let's just see. We'll just rewind to the bear, who's also going to charge.
He's got a 5 move.
All right, I'm going to try to pivot to where I'm actually going to be able to join my skin.
Yep, pivoting is important there. So you're charging. What's his move normally? A 5?
Normally a 5, so I need to hit a 3 or better. We're charging as well. Oh, it's a 6.
Bear running up.
I think I split the goalpost.
I think
right
you're
on
good.
There. So now that means I could either snap to this side or I could snap to that side.
Snap to the left.
I'm going to snap here. It's just thematic. I've got a skin changer. There's bears involved. This feels very free-fold to me. I like it. Okay.
You didn't make the bear noises.
Rawr. Now the bear gets to attack at 2+, but only rolls 1 die.
Yeah, it rolls 1 die and he hits on a 2 or better. So he only misses on a 1.
And it is a charge, so I get to re-roll it in case it does miss. So there's 1.
Okay.
1 wound.
And then
coming at you.
Technically I roll 1 die and I'm looking for you charged. You're on my flank, so I need a 6 or better.
Oh wait, hold on. There's important things here.
Okay.
Savage Mauling. This attack does not allow defense saves, which
Cool.
I think is what you're about to do.
Yep.
And you suffer -2 to your panic test because I'm vicious.
Okay.
It's a freaking
So I take
bear.
1. I'll put 1 token on, and then I have to take a panic test.
Can we put it here just so I can?
Yeah, you can just put it in that empty
There you
slot
go.
if you want. So I take a panic test. I need a 6 or better. I get -1 because the bear's terrifying. I got an 8. -1 is 7, so I passed the test.
All right, passed. All right.
Okay, then technically I did the politics of Illyrio, and then now it's your turn.
And then you heal. Okay,
Yeah.
right on. And now it's my turn again, right? I want to see what this giant does.
Technically, if that were the case, this would have been, and I would heal 3. So like if I would have been here and you did 1 more damage.
Mm-hmm.
Then I heal 3. So 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I think it would essentially be the same thing because this represents 3 wounds, right?
Oh yeah, I heal 3, so then I got it. I'd be in
Yeah.
the same spot.
Yeah,
Okay,
same spot.
Just making sure.
Same spot. Okay, next up, who do we want to do?
Nicholas saying, it seems like a pretty easy game. How much does this burn your wallet? So everything here on the target side, I think, is like $90 for the starter. So if you're playing 2 people, you're gonna need 2 of those, and then how far you go beyond that's up to you. The thing that got me, I didn't even think about this. Literally, it didn't occur to me until like the past month. After it came out, I was like, oh, I'm really excited for the targets to come out. But you know what I never thought about? I've been getting into Paint of Miniatures this
Tell
year.
me.
Isolation,
Tell me, please.
etc. They're gonna do the dragons.
Ah, come on.
Like,
I can't do the dragons. I can't do the
Dude,
dragons.
they're absolutely gonna do the dragons.
Euron's gonna show up and just catch one on not looking.
But like, even just as
Yeah,
a
just
miniatures
spear.
thing, it's like being able to buy the Drogon model and paint that. It's like, yep.
That's where we're very different. That is exciting to you.
Well, I love the dragon.
Painting a dragon like that? That sounds like work. It sounds like a job to
Dude,
me.
the bigger the model, the easier the paint.
That's true. Yep. Classic
You picture
saying,
this like
man.
big. It's like,
You know,
oh, okay.
They always say.
It's classic. I've heard that my whole life. The bigger the model, the easier the paint. You know what I mean?
Okay, here's what I got some fat tactics coming in here. Let's go with the rattle shirts. If it's targeted by cross swords, it may make a free charge instead of an attack action. Okay. Each time an enemy engaged with it fails a panic, it restores wounds. Horrific visage. There's all sorts of stuff. They're going to march. It's what the undead know how to do.
Juarez says apparently CMON's already announced there will be dragons. I love it. Zach, very important advice for me here. He says, if you do end up with a dragon, make sure you don't just, I don't know, kind of forget about Euron's fleet. I hear it's lethal for the dragons.
All right, so rattle shirt's going to go.
Along with bad riding.
We're going to pivot.
All right. Where are you pivoting to?
I'm just trying not to actually catch you because we're going to march.
Oh,
we're marching times 2. Marching. Oh, wait, I can't pivot before March.
Oh, and now when you march, though, do you have to go your full distance? Do we know? Chat will let us know.
I'm going to clip your corner. Maybe I won't. Hold on.
Well, how far do they go?
10. But I'm trying to, like, defend against a counter charge here.
10 is there.
Okay, so I'll be right on the edge there. Interesting. I'm doing it. We're marching.
You don't have to go your full distance either. By the way, earlier, someone was saying you're not a Fire and Ice miniature player until you do that.
All right, and I covered up the objective.
Watch out. Don't move too much.
I'm not moving.
It's
I'm not
right.
moving.
You want me to help you?
Yeah. Well, I can't move, you know.
Yeah,
so.
Literally.
Stasis.
This is where the stream gets to take a shot here.
There we go. I feel like if I played this game for real, I would magnetize these.
People surely do that, right?
Yeah.
Who's my commander? Is it this skeleton guy? Rattle shirt?
They all have them, right?
No, like all of them look fairly normal.
No, they all.
Oh no, he's clearly a skeleton. Yeah, that's Rattle shirt, right? He looks kind of like a predator.
Let me see.
Yahtzee.
I'll let you know.
That's got to be him.
You'll have one that looks like none of the other ones.
Yeah, he doesn't have any fur or anything.
Yeah, it's him.
Yeah, it's him. Yeah. All right, so we marched, and then that's the end of the turn. So now we're ready.
Yeah. So technically, there's cutouts on the side of the board you can grab them by. It's helpful to know if there's these.
Mm-hmm. I tried to do it with one hand. I think that was my mistake.
Yeah.
Can't hold a ruler and move a
Obviously
tray.
not a bowler.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Mashup of Lebowski possibilities. Obviously, you're not a golfer, and then all of the bowling things involved in that movie. Obviously, you're not a bowler. That actually would have been the appropriate thing to say in the scene because there was a bowling ball on cards.
My
So
brain.
we've actually reversed the joke to logically normal.
We made it.
You better get some friends up here, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the goal.
How did all my stuff get here and yours is so far behind?
Because I came.
Oh,
to
because
get
you
the objective.
tactics did. Text
Well, and they get a free maneuver, so they moved and then moved again.
Yeah, we do have activation tokens we're putting on the cards over here. And in fact, we'll just put them here. Let the people know. I need to get my die. My die system just got ruined. Clean. So I've essentially just blocked off Torment here from doing anything worth doing, which is unfortunate.
You've
The tactical mastermind that is put everything in the way.
Let me read some things.
Oh, can pivot at the end of the march. That's worth knowing.
You gonna do it?
Yeah, again with the tactics. So I'm actually going to get ready for your insanity. I'm pivoting with an intention to not clip that corner. So if that does happen, then
Smart.
it's not what was intended, and we can.
Smart.
Yeah, so I'm looking to a little bit slingshot myself into your forces. Yeah, Herman, so you can move one unit. I choose one unit, activate it, and then it goes back over to Zach. So I'll probably march the giant up. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe like I'll take a tactic and move this thing again so it clears the way for my other stuff to start going in.
All right, let's go with my other Dothraki Screamers. Before they go, they get to make a maneuver.
Yeah. What was that? Was the old X-Men superhero Banshee? Oi, Myra. Been watching that X-Men animated series again. It's on Disney Plus.
Oh, really?
Myra.
That's a great.
She's hilarious. It's like screaming the whole time.
That's a great show. I'm gonna pivot a little bit and make my free maneuver. Yeah, we started watching it and then haven't resumed.
Free maneuver because you're horses. Basically, that signifies how fast you are.
Yeah,
more or less.
they're really fast. So fast. Ooh, enemies I successfully charge become vulnerable.
Good luck proving it.
That's so good. Then for my next trick, they are going to charge
Okay.
as their action. And I think they can just get there no matter what happens here. Yeah. They're going to charge those spear wives.
I've heard that horses charging into spears is really usually incorrect, but
Yep. I'm going to play a devastating impact. When a friendly unit declares a charge, that unit may reroll their charge distance, and their attack does +2 automatic hits.
oh, that's what the cross swords are. So if you control that space, certain things get better.
Yeah, the tactics board.
Oh.
So I'm going to roll my charge distance,
Oh.
which is a 2. That's fine. I'll keep it. So they're going to charge here,
That's layers upon layers. This thing's like a wedding cake.
and then hit, and then they'll snap.
Yeah,
There.
get that tactics board out of here.
Yep.
Who needs it?
Don't cur. The turn counter gone.
You know what turn it is?
No one does. Many say the game is still going on today. And then they're charging, so they have a attack. They get to roll 7 dice. Obviously, I can re-roll my. They get 2 free hits, 2 automatic hits. I'm gonna go ahead and put those here from the Devastating Impact tactic card.
Mhm. Oh wait, hold on. I might have a card that matters here.
All right.
Am I a friendly unit being attacked? I am. Targeting the attacker.
West Coast. Did you see that comment? It says, "Unfortunately, these spears suck."
Okay, no, this isn't gonna matter.
Thanks, Juarez. I'm watching.
So, charge bonus and flank bonus for this one. Because a -1 to my defense rolls because I'm on. You're
And
on
charge
the flank.
is a re-roll.
Reroll your things. Okay.
And I'm looking for 3+ to hit.
Okay.
So these all hit, and then I'm going to re-roll these 3.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So these 2 hit.
Nice rerolls.
Plus I get my 2 bonus ones, so that's 6 total coming at you, or 8. Sorry,
Looks like 8. Yeah.
my math is bad.
6
so
before the bonus.
what's your defense stat?
My defense stat on these is a 5+.
Okay,
Technically, it's now 6s because I'm being charged on
That's
the
right.
flank.
Yep.
Okay.
so you need to roll 8s, and any 6s stop a damage.
So 8 dice, 6s stop a damage. Nothing in my hand that matters. Yep.
Oh, and technically, you become vulnerable.
Okay, so you can cash that in immediately if you want, right?
It says enemies this unit successfully charges. So I think and I needed clarification. Does the vulnerable get applied after the attack resolves, or when I successfully connect
You
with them?
successfully charged, right? It's already happened. That's how I rule it. Not knowing the timing. Expend it after an enemy rolls defense to force them to re-roll any dice. So you can cash.
On the table says counts like a Dothraki. Very in character.
All right, so Nathan's saying as soon as it's successful, yeah. All right, so now I have that token on me. So I'm going to roll my defense, and then you can cash that token in to have me re-roll, or you can just leave me.
Yeah.
sad.
I'm gonna do it. All right, so your 6s would hit.
Now here's the thing, though. So I get -1 for the flank, but I get +1 because of the tree, because it's an inspiring.
+1 on your panic test.
Oh, it's the panic test,
Panic
not the
test.
defense test. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have the option now to cash that in. I can re-roll the 6, or you can save it until
I'm gonna
maybe it's
save
better.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the right thing.
1/6 seems fine.
So 1/6. That means I immediately lose 7
Yep.
things, right?
That's right. And you start with the back right.
They're all 1 wound, so that's just 7 things out of here.
Yep. They go quick.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Now the cool part of the spear
You
wives
just wrecked some spears, didn't you?
is that they keep the 7 attack dice until I get rid of your second row. So you
Yeah.
literally have 1 person in that second row, so they're going to keep that attack until I deal with them.
Rawr. Okay, now we do the panic test. So the panic 7+ is successful, I roll 2d6, and apparently you roll the d3 at the same time, just so it
Oh,
all
it is the
happens
damage.
at
I
once.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they essentially have +1 because you're of the tree.
Yeah.
So
Now the interesting thing, so and they -1 for the flank, +1 for the tree, so it all evens out. If you had forced me to re-roll the 6, you could have potentially cleared that second flank, and I would have gotten way worse.
Yeah.
Which is interesting tactically. Okay, so I need a 7+ on these 2d6. I have a 6, and so that means I lose three wounds. Is that what that means?
3 + 1.
Hold on, let me see if I have any abilities.
That's what I was saying.
Check my rule.
If I had made you re-roll, you would have potentially lost the whole unit because if you hit a 3 on that D3.
My gosh, 3 wounds. It's not 3 + 1, right?
I think it's 3 + 1.
It's 3 + 1.
But you have 5 dudes left.
So I lose 4?
You'll lose everything but this, and that would have been the skin changer too.
What a
which would have been-
devastating charge. Good
Well, I
job,
mean,
horses.
the Dothraki screamers with Khal Drogo know what they're doing. You know what I mean?
I do,
Dude, the episode, I will say, for all the crap that the show gets, deservedly so, the episode where Dany and the Screamers and Drogon fight the Lannisters, like when they're on their way back and it's like smoking them out and they're screaming and it's just like this big, it lays down all the smoke. Have you seen that episode?
No.
So she basically uses the dragon to burn through and create this like wall of smoke. And then all you can hear is the hooves of the horses and the Dothraki screamers screaming.
Oh, nice.
And the Lannisters are just kind of like trembling. And then all of a sudden, like these horses just come through and it's just fantastic.
I love it. Yeah.
Very well done.
Screaming is a very effective tactic.
It
I
was
used
basically
it a lot
like
as a child.
a way, nailed it. A way to basically tactically use the dragon's fire that's not just burning the other army. It was very cool.
All right, so is there anything significant about losing a unit in full?
On the table, you were on it. It says, I know you don't want to trust his Dothraki math, but he was right. Sorry, what were you saying?
So is there anything like about losing a unit that's particularly bad aside from it just being gone?
I think I score points.
Because I'm wondering, I could heal this unit, but it's really, it's kind of like, well, if they dead, they dead, and then I have room for other things to move in there, you know?
I think technically you score some points.
Yeah, 1 point, says West Coast Bannerman.
For every like unit you get rid of.
Okay. So, you've already taken the Healy section, so that's interesting.
That's part of that tactics board, right?
Yeah. The tactics board is a nice touch.
Yeah. I think it's the right amount of like nuance and complexity.
What's your speed on those guys?
Why are you asking?
I'm just curious.
6.
Yeah, what does that look like in terms of, not much of a carpenter myself. 6, huh? Okay, what's a maneuver? Moves a pivot, move speed, pivot?
So like, a good tactical thing I can do, there's the thing that lets you take a free maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I do that to move them up, and then on my turn they charge, they could technically get somewhere. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, target one other friend. If you're friendly, target one other. Oh! Oh!
Don't you love this? Apparently they're worth 1 victory point unless they have the keyword insignificant. This unit, that's insignificant.
Ah, yes.
Don't mind me.
Wow, the tactics board is great.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this giant. I want to see what this giant can do.
Dude, that giant model is awesome.
It's awesome. Let's see what they can get up to. Giant does 5, has a mighty swing for 1. If it generates any hits instead of rolling defense, you suffer D3 + 1 wounds and 1 additional for each wound on the model already. Oh, each wound on this model. So each wound on the giant, he gets better. He swings harder as he gets injured. So let's see, if we did a double move, we would get 10 up. But I just got, where's Tormund going to end up?
Alive?
All right, I'm clearing it out. I'm going to the tactics board. Zach, one friendly unit may make a free maneuver or retreat action. We're going to choose this unit.
Nice. So that's good because you stopped me from doing it too. You get the
That's right.
benefit and you're preventing me from playing there.
That is right. So now a maneuver is pivot, move, 5 for this model, and pivot again. So we're just going to not pivot the first time.
You're coming to me?
I already
You're
covered
trying to
those
get this point?
bases.
I see.
Move here, and I'm going to end like, I don't know. There's,
I guess.
Geometry said yes. We don't score points until turn 2.
Oh.
Don't sleep on that.
Yeah, so me running out to that first one and getting that point really didn't
I wasn't going to tell you until after it was over.
Didn't want to break my heart.
Okay, here we go. That's it. So that's my tactics.
I
move.
mean, interestingly though, like, so does the game end only after round 6? Like, if you clear out all my units, is the game end triggered and we count up points, or like?
I'm going to kill all your stuff, and I think at that point I will win.
Okay. Mine.
Oh, Blake asking, does the theme of the game come through? Do you feel like you're in Westeros rather than some other fantasy world? Well, so far, I definitely, that felt very Dothraki. It felt very wildlingy. The tactics board is really what does it to make this feel like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and I think the political people you bring and their abilities are also interesting. So far, it's checking out, but we're mid first game, so hard to really say.
First to 10 victory points, or if you get tabled.
There it is. Okay. Okay, let's do this. The one true queen herself, Daenerys Targaryen. I'm going to play her Conviction of a True Khaleesi. She's going to go on.
What, you like play the card when you do that? Do you have to draw it or something?
No, you just have
play
Mance.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
What's he do? He has a special too.
Oh, right. Influence. When this unit claims a tactic zone, attach this card to a combat unit until end of the round. When Mance influences a unit, they gain one condition of my choice, and while I'm influencing that unit, they suffer penalties based on the number of conditions they have. So if they have one condition, they also have the condition, of course, but then -1 attack die and -1 movement. 2+ tokens, -1 to hit on all attacks, and 3+ condition tokens, they lose all abilities.
Okay.
So Mance is going to influence. I can either influence here and give them something that's going to. He's really about making them attack less. So let's give it to these guys. Oops. Consider yourself influenced.
Sure. Mance. So when I played Daenerys, she
When
actually.
I give you a condition, hold on. I need to give you a condition. Let's give you weakened. We're gonna make you weakened. We're gonna try to keep me alive.
Well, good luck. Daenerys is going to go on the swords clashing space. A friendly unit may make a free attack action. And then it says, when this unit claims a tactic zone, attach this card to a combat unit until the end of the round. So she'll attach to the Unsullied, and she gives them +1 speed, and they can reroll any charge distance dice.
Can we do that the same thing for you? Can you put a random token here? I like to see her like influencing that unit directly. Look, how cool is it? Yeah.
My minions go!
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, so she's going there. A friendly unit can make an attack action. Khal Drogo, of course, is going to attack here. So
Okay.
I'm going to try to clear them off the board. So they roll 7.
All right, so a couple of things that are happening. You're going to get -1 because of Mance's ability, because I'm influencing you. So you get -1 attack die. So you're going to lose 1 die off the top, and then I can cash in your weakened token to make you re-roll any dice that hit.
So I'm looking for 3+.
3+. Here we go. Did you get -1 die?
No.
All right, only
Ooh,
roll
but look
6.
at that roll.
Wow, good. Yes, excellent. Redo it.
So there's 4 hits. These blink out. And then you can technically spend that weakened token to make you re-roll any number of those.
Yeah, do you even bother?
You could save it for some other more important attack.
Because, like, I'm just thinking, if you clear that one out, I can maybe slot this one in.
Oh, wait, my rolls are -1 though, right?
No, it's just -1 attack die,
Oh, okay, okay.
not -1
Got
your
you.
stuff. Okay, and then the spear people don't much matter. If you skill the skin changer, I lose the bear.
Yep.
And you've got 4 hits. And then I'll have a defense roll of 6, because I'm still on the flank, right?
You'll need 6s, and you'll get to roll 4 times.
I mean, the chances are absurd. Do you know what I mean?
It's possible.
Let's have you do it. We'll cast the weakened token now. Let's have you do it. You know, you didn't
I
get
mean,
this far on
the
a
thing
dream
is,
or
like,
prayer.
if you can cancel 2 of these out here, your odds of hitting 2 6s are, it's 1 in 36, so that's reasonable. 4 6s
Yeah, 1 in
is
36 is
impossible.
reasonable. Let's go play craps.
Yeah. All right, so you got rid of one of them. I have 3 hits. So now you get to roll 3 times, and you need 3
sixes?
Yeah.
That's all right. I would make a Faustian bargain here.
Double 1s and a 4.
Okay, so 3 wounds.
Okay. So if you want, you can slide all those spearwise back into the base so you can and take it off the board. And so.
Yes. I'm just going to take it off the board.
That's fine. We'll remember the fallen.
And then I think the bear goes away too, yeah?
Yeah, once the skin changer goes down, the bear's gone.
Ooh, actually that opens up a lot for Tormund here.
Yeah, and then...
Now if I was thinking, you know, you could have probably positioned and get ready for the action.
Just going to slide these up here.
Surge 4th rule, what does that mean? Key concept, West Coast Bannerman, hit us. Surge 4th. Okay, what does that mean? Does that mean you probably get to surge 4th if you want to? You can like run through the thing
When
you
you
just
kill
killed.
a unit, the unit that kills it gets to make a free maneuver. Ooh, so good.
Come on in.
I'm not going towards you.
Yeah, come on in.
I'm getting out of here.
Please, listen up.
It's, let's do this.
Now that looks great on the table.
And then
Oh my gosh.
they're going to reinforce here.
It's clobbering time.
And then let's rotate.
Okay.
We'll see if you can come and get it. Now, technically, Mance doesn't matter anymore, right?
Still influencing it, yes. If you gain a condition, he'll
apply
have
his effect.
a thing,
Very
yeah.
cool.
My freefall graders are insignificant also. Didn't realize that. Very cool. All right, so that's you, huh? Well, that's pretty good. Pretty good go there.
You still have your 2 primary units that haven't gone.
That's right. All right, giant 5. Can we even get there? Let's see if we can just try a charge, right? I'd need to roll, by my reckoning, at least a 6.
You could try.
And I probably can't roll higher than a 6 on that d6, so...
Dude, if that giant charges that far, you can imagine him coming up and just smacking one of those Dothraki off of a
Well,
horse.
he is unhappy.
My friends!
Okay. Now, what's my other option? My other option is more or less the same.
Also, because they were engaged and they're no longer engaged, they can now pivot.
Oh.
So...
If you pivot like this, then the giant probably has no way to get to you, because I can only try to hit that corner.
That's where I'm like doing this action. I also, not only do I want to pivot to prevent that, but I want to make sure they can't engage me on my side if possible.
Okay, so what else might the giant do? Basically, I'm just going to be maneuvering. That's what I'm looking to do with the giant here. So I guess we may as well try a charge, because it's more or less equal to maneuver in this situation for me.
Well, so...
Can I even get there?
A march is just an auto 10 though, right?
Yeah.
So like, a charge would have to hit a 6 to be further than that.
Yeah, and it won't. All right, let's go 10 then. So we'll take a maneuver. We can pivot as we like.
Totally agree, Matt. Saying that my dice would be great for the middle or CCG. We got the dragons on them. There be dragons!
Giant moves up.
He's about to... it's going to be painful.
For you.
My turn?
Yeah.
Well, let's go with my Unsullied here. They have +1 speed because of Daenerys being attached to them. So they're going to charge.
They're going to hit their own unit.
They can pivot, right?
Not before a charge. That's where my
charge is a pivot. It's the march they can't pivot before. What, did that change something for you?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. They're going to pivot and charge. So they've got a 6, 7 speed. And let me see my cards. Yeah, they got a 7, so let's roll a d6. I need a decent number here. 5.
That's a
gonna
decent
be
number.
A 12.
They have
They'll
a
get there.
7?
They have 5 or 6. Then Danny gives them +1, and then the charge is a +5. So
Yikes!
they're gonna get there. Good dunk.
Good dunk.
And then they're gonna attack you. Of course, they need 2+. They roll 10 dice. Holy smokes! Can I borrow one of your dice?
Yeah.
Do you have something for me?
Don't like that.
All right, so it's a 10.
I mean, I've got some abilities. Let me see. Targeted by a thing. No, that didn't happen. Free attack action doesn't matter. Each time an enemy fails a panic test. Okay, that's cool. Each time an enemy targets this unit with a melee attack, that enemy suffers a panic test before resolving that attack. So you got to do a panic test before killing the zombies.
Okay, now?
Yeah.
So a panic test is 2d6?
2d6 plus your d3.
Yep, and I'm a 4.
What?
They're unsullied. They don't feel
Oh,
nothing.
right. That actually makes a ton of sense.
So, oh, okay.
Oh
snake
my
eyes,
gosh.
triple snakes. Okay, so I failed the panic test. So
There's
I
some
take-
things here.
Okay, tell me more. These are great. I love these bone lords.
Each time an enemy fails a panic test, this unit restores up to 2 wounds, so that would be exciting
they
if
would
that
get
happened.
they would come back.
We also have Rattleshirt, who has Prey on Fear a second time. So genius deck building on your end there, Zach. I don't think those abilities are going to stack, so it's the same idea.
So technically, if that had happened when you were down some units, you would just gain 4 people right there.
I don't know, do they stack? Can
They-
Prey on
they-
Fear
I think
stack
they
twice?
both trigger,
Are
yeah.
you sure? I saw in the thing it said abilities, there's only one instance. Only one instance of Preying on Fear.
That seems weird. You want to put Rattleshirt with these guys, thematically speaking.
Are they to become the Raiders?
He's the Bone Lord.
Yeah, he is the Bone Lord. Okay, well.
All right, so I know I suffer 2 wounds, right?
You suffered 2 wounds, that's definitely happening.
So I'm going to go ahead and take these
and
2
that's
off.
the only thing that matters.
Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put my commander back here, Danny, because now she has a spot
That's
to
right,
hang
yeah.
out. But that's not a health, so just buyer beware. So now I get to attack you, and I still have my full row. So they roll 10.
And order is once per round, what does that mean? Oh, order overrun, is that what that means? This thing, you can only do one of those once per round? Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. No, I don't think that affects you at all.
Okay.
You didn't use this already, right?
No.
Order Relentless?
That's the thing at the start of the turn. They can do a free attack.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll my dice.
Yeah, roll your dice.
I'm looking for
You have 10 dice coming in?
10, and I only need 2 plus. Only one's miss. And they have precision, so hits from 6s you don't get to roll defense dice against.
They don't stack also.
All right. So, 6,
Excuse me,
6.
that is a rude roll.
6. The 1 misses. These all hit. So it's 3, 6, 7, 8 hits, 3 of which you don't even get to roll a defense. 9 hits, sorry. 4, 7.
How many
My
dice did you
brain.
just roll? Wait a minute.
No, that's 9. I was right.
You just rolled 10 dice, right?
Yep, 10
And
dice.
you got 9 hits,
2 pluses hit.
3 of which are gonna.
Yeah, and it's a charge, so I get a reroll. So reroll the 1.
Okay, yeah, good luck there.
Got it. All right, so
All
there's
right.
10 hits, 3 of which you don't get to roll anything against.
Okay, so now I rolled 7 dice
West Coast, that Dothraki map again.
to try to defend.
Yeah.
So I defend on a 4 plus,
Mhm.
and there's nothing weird that I need to know about from your side.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. Come on, bones. All right, 3 successes out of 7.
So that cancels, and there's still 7 damage remaining.
7 damage. So hey, I don't lose a rank. That's worth something. At least unless I panic. These zombies better not panic easily. That would be ridiculous.
Well, they've got a 6 flag.
6?
It's like 6 flags over Texas.
Why? How is it dead? These things don't panic. What are they gonna do? Run away back to the underworld?
I think the main, they're not dead. They're not undead. They just wear bones as masks.
Oh, they're real people just with bones on?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So the thing is, they, like, imagine the inverse. Like, if you'd lost those and then I failed my panic
Yeah, you
test
just
at some
keep bringing them back. It's
you just
cool.
keep coming.
All right, so a panic test with a D3, yeah. Nailed it. Nothing.
Okay.
10, easily succeeded.
Technically, I think these are the, now that I've seen the thing, these are the activation tokens. And
Oh.
those are the, these
Oh,
green
the
thing you
order
can do once.
stuff. Yeah, okay. Ding, 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 ding. Dee-doo. Brandon.
Apparently there's an ability crit, so the 6s actually do 2 damage, but I don't have that ability. So that was my activation. Now it's your
Okay.
turn.
So let's see how far away you are here, basically. So I don't know, I can get fancy. I don't think I can get 11. I mean, maybe. On a pivot?
Pivot and charge, man.
Let's try it. Let's charge you. I don't know. It feels very squirrely to do that.
I'm not worried about it. There's a certain, in all miniatures games, there's a certain amount of just like, we're both just trying to execute a clean game. And it's fine if we don't
That's
quite
where
get there.
X-Wing is just like that bump. It's like, ah, I've ruined it. Okay, D6. Here we go.
Need big money, no whammies.
How about a 6?
Wah, wah,
Tormund
wah.
in the game.
Here comes the Giant's Bane.
Okay, 2 hands.
2 hands, 1 heart.
Bum ba-da-dum ba-da-dum. Bum ba-da-dum ba-da-dum.
Nailed it.
Okay, I've got something to say about that. Rush of Aggression. When I successfully charge, I roll +2. If it's Tormund's unit, you become vulnerable.
Oh no! Good graphic design on these tokens. It's
It
got
is
that.
good.
It's got that like. There's a style to it. Have you seen the? You probably haven't. There's a show on Netflix now called Cursed.
Why do you just assume that I don't watch anything entertaining?
Have you seen Cursed?
I actually almost watched the first episode, but no, I have not.
Why do you assume I've done nothing? Because we've been listening to Taylor Swift for the past week. The like cuts between scenes has this art style. It's like a Frank Miller Watchmen like. I don't know how to describe it, but that's what those remind me of.
Yeah, it just looks kind of
But
a comic book
icon-
style, but it's like a bold iconography. It almost looks like old school tattoo style.
It's got the really thick black lines around the outside of everything.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
They call that, what's that old tattoo style? They call it, it's like the old sailor style where it's really thick outlines. I watched that Tattoo Wars show or whatever, Skin Wars, I think is what it was. Okay, so now we calculate what needs to happen here.
Jeremy says, I've been waiting for this all week. And then he says, full spicy. Cursed is amazing.
So I have crude weapons. I have a full tray, which means I roll 6 attack dice. I'm going to add 2 because of successful charge. You gained vulnerable,
Did it.
which means that I can cash it in after you roll defense dice to force you to reroll any of those defense dice.
Yeah.
So that's
also,
good.
on the graphic design front, I meant to say this. Not only does it look good, but it's also very clear what it is. Like, I didn't have to know that's what those were. It's like, this is the defense breaker because it's the shield that's broken. This is the sword broken, bad attack. And then this is the running, panic.
Yeah,
thing.
panic,
It's hilarious.
for sure. Now, Tormund also gives this unit Shattering Assault, which says this unit's charge attacks gain Sundering, and that gives you -1 to your defense saves. So you got -1 to your defense.
Okay.
I would get +1 when I'm attacking an enemy engaged with another friendly unit. So if the giant was in there too, I'd get +1 to my attack.
Super cool.
Or +1 on my hits. And then I'm insignificant otherwise. But I feel very significant in this moment.
All right, so you're charging, so you get 6, and you had the card that gives you +2.
+2. So I got 8 dice.
And you'll get a reroll. We'll start there.
And then you'll be at -1 to your defense, and I can make you reroll those dice. So we could have some horse steak for dinner. What do we got? We got 4+ is a success.
Okay.
So here's 6 successes. Wait, do I have too many dice?
That was not in there. That was just on the table.
This one wasn't?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a clever move by me, though.
But then you're charging, so you get a reroll of 3.
It's a clean sweep.
8.
8 coming at you,
So
-1 to
8,
your defense.
But I roll 1 less, or it's -1 to my
Just
roll?
-1 to all your rolls.
Okay, so they're a 5 defense, so I have to roll a 6 to hit anything.
That's right.
Or to not get hit, as they're saying.
And then I might cash in your token.
All right, so I got 1 block.
All right, so now in a normal world, you're going to take 6 wounds. Now I could make that go to 7, so that would be 3, 6, and 1 more wound on
So I'm
the,
1 away from...
so you'd be 1 away from it. That would mean a panic test would have a decent shot at killing you.
Yep.
But a panic test is always going to do 2 wounds if you fail it anyway.
Yep.
So that would clear the unit.
Yep.
So there's no need to cash the
Now,
token. in.
you just reached the next tier.
Just like that meme where you see like the... Okay, done. Then I'm not cashing in the token. I will stick with your 6 wounds. So I think you apply those immediately.
Okay, so 2 more gets rid of a unit. And then I've got 4 more, so there's 3. And this comes back for 4. Then I have to make a panic test, and my steely stat is a 6, so I need to roll a 6 or better for Jor to stay in play. And I got an 11. Would have been 4 though. Smoking. What I was saying, should we watch Cursed? I like it. It's basically like the prequel to the Arthur legend, and there's some twists and turns involved. But the first couple episodes for me were like, I read some reviews, so like I was expecting it, but like they're kind of getting into it, like the actors and the sets and whatnot.
As
so
you do.
It definitely, by the 3rd or 4th episode, I'm only on like 5, I think. It flows very nicely, but I dig it. I'm into it.
Okay, am I going to go first next turn?
I have no idea. I haven't ever been there. Let's just complete this round. So I've done everything.
I've done everything too.
We get to the end of round. Let me just pull up my compendium. There's a cleanup phase.
Nice.
All right.
Is that when we get haircuts?
That's right. Once that unit completes action, cleanup. During the cleanup phase, the following steps should be taken in order. Resolve any effects that trigger at the end of the round.
Okay, look.
I don't think I have any of those.
None.
At the start. Okay.
None.
Score victory points. So we don't score victory points based on the objectives.
Okay.
Because that's not until the second round. Remove all activation tokens. So I'm going to go ahead and collect my
Now,
commanders
you took
again.
a unit out, so you technically got 1 victory point for that, right?
Yep, but I think that's just a static.
Yeah,
you
we
gain
can
that point.
figure that out.
So I'm going to clear these off.
What's this thing? Is this, where does this
That's
go? Here?
the token that you can make me reroll my defense tokens.
All right, I'll put it in here.
Yep.
Yep. Trays are handy, actually. They hold things.
That's
also.
right. That is, of all the things that happen with a
Someone
tray,
saying
that's
it's
the thing.
the greatest strength of a tray.
You just murdered me for no reason, out of nowhere.
We're having a good time.
Remove all models from the tactics board. Remove any influence effects from the units. That was like my Daenerys.
Yeah.
Players may freely discard any tactics cards from their hand.
Okay.
Then they will draw until their hand contains 3 tactics cards.
Oh, very clever. Now, my guess is you can only play 1 tactics card per activation. I just guessed that. Is that true?
I have no idea.
Like, I couldn't do a double of the same tactic. Or, like, I had 2 Rush of Aggressions. I can't play 2 Rush of Aggressions on 1 charge, right?
Chat will let us know if we're wrong. There's also this first player token I just read about, which is the Iron Throne, which I had because I was going first. At the end of the round, it's going to pass to the other player. So you will get to go first now, which is worth noting. And then advance the round track by 1. So we'll advance to round 2. And then once these
1
are
per trigger. Okay.
completed, the round ends and
Thanks, Tagman.
a new one begins. So you can discard any cards, draw back up, and then we'll go to the next round.
Now, question for all of you out here in chat world. I'm going to guess the only thing that I can do that isn't attacking a unit that's engaged with me is retreating from it, right? Like, I can't declare a charge when you're engaged with me and go charge off into something else. Because
Yeah,
I think you would have to disengage officially before you could do anything spicy.
Let me consult the compendium. A charge action may not be performed while engaged. That's the first sentence on charge.
Okay, got it. Yeah. And West Coast saying you just can't play more than 1 card or order per event, aka trigger. So if I charge once, I can play 1. If I charge a second time, I can play another.
So like when it says when you charge, if that's the reaction point, because all the tax cards have a reaction. It happens in response to something. You can only play 1 card each time you're doing it.
So I'm going to get rid of this. Now, so this deck, are these cards generated from Tormund being my commander, right? So if I put a different commander with these wildlings, I would have a different tactics deck?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So you have 14 that are based on the fact that you're playing wildlings.
Can I have Stannis come in and command the wildlings?
So I don't think so. So you have to run wildling stuff to, like, you're playing the wildling army. Now you can run neutral units. Up to 50% of your list can be neutral units. Although wildlings have a special rule, they cannot run neutral units because they don't accept coin. But I assume, like as an example, you could picture Jon Snow might be a Stark character. He might be a Night's Watch character. He might be a wildling character because he was with Ygritte for a while.
Right.
So I don't know if it would. I imagine there would be Jon Snow versions for each of those. Like there's a Night's Watch Jon Snow, but then there will probably be a Stark Jon Snow before it's all over.
Okay. All right. Okay. I
Also,
get you.
can chat explain to me passing? They say you can also pass.
Like pass a turn or pass an activation or whatnot?
That seems weird. Like
Or
what happens
maybe
if
it
we
means
both pass?
the reaction to the trigger, right? So like if an order would trigger when something happens, you can say, I'm not going to use it this time.
Got you.
I would do that.
And on this like Unsullied Officer order, Relentless, at the start of a friendly turn, instead of activating a unit, this unit makes 1 free attack action. When does that happen, and how does that work? And before we dive in, Nathan's saying Jon Snow right now is only Night's Watch. La Emotica, yeah, you're totally right. It says, I'm not a wargamer, but this looks like a very accessible game.
It's so exciting. Like we're accessing it currently.
But before
Accessing
it. Before we dive in, I do want to get your take on this. On the podcast, we've been doing a little mini series called How to Ruin a Game, which is not what I think is happening here. But the topic,
Get ready.
the topic from last week, we were talking about RAM as a concept, random access memory in a computer, and when you're playing games, and how much information you're having to carry with you. How do you feel this is handling that? I don't feel very taxed right now.
No, this is super fun. It's flowing like water over a waterfall. I don't know. I just kept going.
So, like, for me, I feel like, at least right now, I'm not having to process too much at once, and I can kind of just take it turn by turn. And, like, read down my model. I think it's helpful that like there is a decent amount of reading happening, but at the same time, I'm not having to like it's all here.
Yep.
I'm not having to go anywhere to get it, and it's not that complicated to understand what's going on.
It's not complicated at all. Okay. All right. So am I going first now?
You're first player.
Awesome. Oh, man. You're about to get completely wrecked here.
Hold on. I need an answer. So Nathan says at the start of any of your turns, a round is a series of turns. Okay, cool.
And a turn is an activation.
Yeah. So
you can activate and then pass.
at the start of a friendly turn, instead of activating, I can make a free attack action with my Unsullied. So it doesn't activate anything. It's just they just get a free attack.
So your turn starts, and then you can choose to activate or trigger a start of turn ability that maybe replaces an activation sometimes. Okay. Well, dude.
Oh, I also like Jorah here has a really cool order. When he passes a panic test, an engaged enemy suffers D3 wounds.
Oh. Should I have done that last time?
I didn't do it. It's fine.
That's fine. I'll do it. It's just D3, right? What could go wrong there?
3. You're good at rolling when it's
4
good for
wounds.
me. You know what I mean?
Is it?
It's just
not plus
just
one, right,
D3.
right,
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's cool. So Jorah's got some heat. All right, so I've got to think through some tactics here. Give me just a second. I got to big brain time this in for a second.
Sean says, please don't stop that miniseries within the podcast. It's so fascinating getting reviews on the subject. We'll keep doing that miniseries, and we'll probably, I don't know how many weeks in a row it'll be that series particularly, but I'm sure that's something we'll revisit over the years, which is why we're kind of labeling it that. So if we ever have a topic that's really in that zone, we can have a series of stuff tagged that same thing.
Okay. Tormund's Free Folk Raiders are going to target Jorah.
Jorah.
And so I'm currently at full rank, so I'm a 6. I've got no boosties to this. Nothing fancy coming from my hand. So I'm taking my turn. I'm going to activate this unit, and then I'm going to attack your horse people. So here comes 6 damage. Anything I need to know about before this happens?
Nope.
Okay. That is some hot rolling right
Straight
there.
fire.
So 5 hits.
Jorah, do I have any modifiers that are bad for me?
Nope, you're not sundered or anything. That's only on the charge.
All right, so needs a 5 or better. He got 2. You can technically make me re-roll them, but I would be taking 3 damage. That's enough to
table it, right?
take me off the board.
All right, get him. They gone.
Jorah.
All right, now we've got some magic here.
Okay.
You ready for the magic?
You get a charge or something after you do that?
When this unit destroys an enemy, I can issue an order with Tormund Giant's Bane, which I'm doing now. Instead of maneuvering after I destroy an enemy, I can make a free charge action.
I turned the wrong way.
Oh man, those side horses. Here we go. So we're going to make a free charge action. We've got 5 on the movement. We're going to roll the d6. And I think we declare kind of where we're going to do. I can pivot first if I want to. I'm going to end up in the right place anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to end up sandwiched on your side here. 1, I think, is all that I need, honestly. So we've got 5 plus 1, so I can charge 6. Boom! Look, it's so there. It's not there at all.
You definitely don't make it. You rolled the 1.
It's such a bummer. All right, fine.
No, you can make it.
How? Oh,
So
I
a charge,
pivot.
you pivot,
Oh, and I just got to hit a corner.
but you got to be careful. So like, hold that thing down in the center.
I need a toothpick.
You basically can pivot all the way to the giant.
So if I pivoted this way, is what you're saying.
Yep. And then now charge. You just put the template over here and see if you make it.
Oh yeah.
Like you can just do this.
Yeah, I see.
Because you just need 6.
This is carpentry tactics at its finest.
That's my X-wing XP paying
nicely
off.
done. Okay.
Angles are so important on those maneuvers like that.
Now here's the thing, though. Does that mean now as long as I contact, I can
Now
snap
you can
however I
snap.
want,
Yep.
right? Ooh, nice. Okay. So we can do that. I like that. That's a clean little system, man. Very nice. Okay, and now I made a charge. That means I get to make an attack, right? So I've got, again, the same 6 dice that you would expect. See if I have any cards that would modify it. Nope. Nope.
Blake, that's very kind of you to say. He says, oh, it just disappeared on me. I said, we've been killing it on the podcast these last few months. Every week has been such a great discussion. Experiencing so many games in such a short amount of time must be a factor. Definitely.
It's been insane. Yeah,
we're in the
really.
zone, man. I mean, we're playing 20 to 30 hours a week of games together, live, interacting with chat, and we're hitting cooperative games, competitive games, old games, new games, mid-range 2000s games. I feel like I'm just like, my vision in tabletop. Usually I play one or two games at a time, right? I'm real zoned in. And then now it's just like...
What is Cal's ability?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, if he's targeted by a thing, he can make a free charge. Okay, that's fine. I've got your horses. As long as the horses are tied up, they're not as good. Which stands to reason, right? I mean, on a 4x6, can you imagine running those things around? It'd be so fun. Okay, here we go. We've got 6 dice coming in, and I do get, ooh, luckily I charge, so I get to reroll all of those fat, dumb dice.
What's your, you need to hit on a 4?
4+, yes.
Yeah, that's a bad
So
roll.
charge gets free roll. Now this is a shattering assault. You get sundered, so you're -1 to your defense rolls. Thank you. All right, here's 4 hits.
All right.
Much
and I'm
better.
-1.
You're -1.
So I need 6s.
6s to hit.
None.
All right.
Take 4.
Take 4. Pass it
So
down.
he goes, and I'll take 1 wound. And then I need to make a panic test.
6+. Got it. Not a problem. Wow, you would lose 4 wounds.
Cal ain't scared of no ghost. All right. My turn?
Yeah, on the table, I did roll a 1. Do you always fail on a 1 or something?
Oh, you can't reroll ones. I think
Oh,
that's a
is that
rule.
true?
I think that's a rule.
Oh, that would make sense. Like the skulls in no rerolls on the charge if a 1 was rolled on distance.
Oh, you only roll the 1 on the distance, so you don't get to reroll that.
That means all fails.
Oh my goodness, that's a
That was-
amazing turn of events.
That was actually the worst charge imaginable.
So if you charge and you roll a 1, even if you can definitely get there with a charge, right? That just means you don't get a reroll. Because you could be like 4 inches away and you're like, I'm charging,
okay, that makes sense.
and it's like
yeah.
you roll a 1, that means now you still don't get a reroll.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Disorderly
So
charge.
I got a disorderly charge, and then I rolled all bricks on 6 dice. Wow, good job, Tormund.
I mean, he's scared of those horses once he got up there.
Well done.
All right, let's go ahead and go with my Unsullied, because I want to see if I can take these
Cool. Thank you, Pete. Appreciate it.
bones off the table. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to go. I'm going to use my Unsullied Officer's Order, and it says instead of activating a unit, this unit makes 1 free attack action. So he's just going to attack.
Instead of activating the... Oh, okay.
So it doesn't exhaust someone.
So
They just get a free attack. Yeah.
Very nice.
Super
Okay,
good.
hold on. I might have some things.
And Jorah's gone.
And so that's not technically activating. You're not activating. So yeah, you're fine.
Instead of activating, you know?
So now you're going to attack my skull people?
Yeah, so I get to roll 10 still, because I have 3 rows of people.
Well, I've got something for you. You're targeting this unit with a melee attack, so you got to do a panic test first.
Yep, classic. And this is where you can recover these cats.
Yeah.
So I need a 4+.
Oh man, I can't believe you failed that last time.
Double snakes, dude.
Whew. Almost
That
did
would be
it,
so
almost
sweet,
did
though,
it
right?
Again, yeah.
Like if I lose 3, I'm down a row.
Yeah, that would
And
be
also
sick.
you gain stuff back.
That would be sick.
That's so cool. Very well done. All right, now I'm rolling 10. That's why I needed this. So let's roll 10. And I need
Oh man, they're about to get
I need a
tossed
2+.
Ah, gross.
9.
Why are you rolling
and
all those dice?
The 6s you don't get to
This is just
do
1,000
anything about.
ways bad.
So
4+ against what, 9 or 6?
you
or
get to roll
something?
6 dice.
Okay, so 6 dice, and I need to hit 4+ on all of them. I'll do it. Okay, so I hit 1. So I'll take 5 plus 3 wounds that it couldn't, so I'm taking 8.
Yep.
We're out of here.
Bye, Felicia.
What does this mean? Oh, that means it activated last time. Right?
Yeah. And then what do I get to do when I defeat one of your units?
You get to take a maneuver. Free maneuver. You want to come get some giants?
I might run from some giants. Nah, Unsullied don't run.
That's all I don't run.
But I do like the idea of putting them in the way of your giant. Oh, because they haven't activated yet.
Herman asked, so my unit did charge here. I did get to attack, but I rolled 6 misses out of 6 dice. So it was just pathetic. It was more pathetic than it was anything else. Truly pathetic.
So they'll pivot. And then they'll hang out. They haven't activated it yet. That was just their free attack.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to be able to get there if I need to get there. Actually,
what does flank do? -1 to your defense saves and -1 to your panic test. Wow, nice. Okay.
all right.
That's it.
Yep.
Bob Dole don't need this.
Bobby Dolo.
Wow. Do you have any tactics that are pretty good here? If that unit's targeted by a thing, make a free charge instead. That's not going to matter.
West Coast saying key concept, especially for Lannisters. If all hits are blocked or missed, the defending unit auto passes the panic test. So if you're not going to suffer any damage, you don't have to panic.
Fair.
Makes sense.
And these guys have gone. Okay. All right, so what you're saying is I've got a giant. These guys haven't activated, so you could close in on my giant if I put him in the pocket.
They haven't
here.
activated either, so if you engage with them, they can pivot and then attack.
Mm-hmm.
Fred saying just a 12-point unit of Unsullied throwing elbows all over the board.
So you can swing it. You can basically turn him whenever you go to attack. You can turn him to face however you want.
Yeah.
So you're no longer flanked, basically.
They have to be able to fit. It looks like they're not quite squares. Looks like it's a little rectangular. So technically, you could like put units in such a way that I couldn't pivot, which would be a bummer.
Strategies.
So, Northern Realms, come on, guys, use that tactics board.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I've got some plays here though. I've got some plays.
Ian Shaver asking, what are you guys hoping to hear tonight from the FFG in-flight report? Any hot takes? We talked about this a little bit on the
Keyforge
podcast.
Online would be one, but
Oh my, if I could ask anything of Fantasy Flight right now, it would be give me an app on my phone to play Keyforge. Absolutely nailed it. I wasn't even thinking about that. But, you know, I think this is a weird year because of Corona
the Rona.
to release a major title. So any publisher that had one planned, especially any of the like expandable, community-driven, local event type board games, I think are fine. But like it's just a weird time to be launching something. So I assume that they'll announce mostly expansion style stuff, and it'll be things that if it were me, and again, it's hard to adjust. The print runs probably by the time this is all really hitting in April, May are already well underway for August. But I would be heavily focusing on things you can paint at home by yourself, cooperative, solo style games. So whatever that looks like. But I mean, it'd be heavy on Arkham and Champions and getting people really excited. And then also, what are your plans to keep games that need local communities kicking when all this is going down? I'm interested to see what they say.
Okay. Giant's going to charge those horses.
What's the speed?
5. I think I need to hit a 2. Maybe a 3.
You need a 3. That's not a bad roll.
50-50. Well, more than that.
More than that. 66%. I believe. Don't roll that D3. Steven needs a charger.
I need some fresh dice here. So failed charge on a 6. That at least puts me squarely on, well, no, not on the objective token at all. All right, the plans are foiled. Everything is ruined. No.
Matt Resner, I don't think that's bad at all. He says, is it bad that I'm hoping that any new game that might be announced isn't interesting to me? I'm already all in on Champions and can't afford much more. I mean, it's a careful balance, right? I think in the 2014, 15, 16 range, Fantasy Flight particularly released a ton, like a game, every year it was like 1 or 2 new games, and it was a lot for people to try to keep up with.
Yeah, he's not an infantry unit. No, he's got the beast thing. I think he's a beast or something.
That is the unit type.
Okay. It's so bad what that has done for me on that failed charge.
You're probably getting ready to come swing that hammer.
You wouldn't believe how good these cards are if I had gotten there.
Cal Drogo here just set up to get wrecked. I got to get a picture of that with that
Panic
giant.
test for failing charge, really?
That seems crazy.
Okay, I'm panicking because I didn't move like I wanted to. 2 plus a D3? 6. Do I make a 6? Yes, I'm fine. And I get +1 because I got a tree around.
He only needs to get a 3 to not panic.
Yeah.
Because he's a monster. Okay, mine?
Yep.
You're all activated. You haven't done Mance.
Haven't done Mance. No.
Fancy pants, Mance. Let's go with Khal Drogo. I'm going to attempt to attack. I'm going to pivot and attack you.
Pivot and attack me. Yeah.
We good for that?
Yeah. I swear that card would be really good.
Indeed. Let's see.
It's called There's Too Many. It says when an enemy combat unit activates, I could play it on you right now. If there are 2 or more enemies engaged with that unit, they suffer a panic test with -2 to their roll. So if the giant gets up there, you go to activate, and you got to hit an 8 or lose like
Lot.
2 to 3.
Too many.
2 to 3 wounds.
But, I mean, that's a horse lord.
Yeah, it's a horse lord.
Only got so many of those. All right, so I have my full, so I get to roll 7. No rerolls. I'm looking for a 3+. I'm obviously hitting Tormund's board.
Tormund.
All right.
Yeah, we saw that West Coast. We got it. You can discard as you like.
I hit for 6.
And our 6 is always not rerollable, or is that an unsullied thing? Not blockable. Is that unsullied?
That's unsullied. They have precision.
Okay, so I roll 6 dice. My defense is a 5+. Any abilities I need to know about? Nope. Two successes.
You needed a 6 to succeed, or 5?
5. 5+.
Okay, so you cancel 2. It's down to 4.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Dude, that panic test is actually
Don't panic, guys. Come on. 2
crazy.
dice and a panic.
Nice.
Probably succeed, right?
Oh, definitely.
8+, actually. So 9.
Wow. Those free folk are not...
They're looking to get back to the woods.
Hardy.
Live the simple life. Obla-dee,
back to the
obla-da.
ground, more like. All right, they have activated. Thanks for your service.
All right, well, let's get it done. We're going to activate Mance.
West Coast saying, we may have missed another key concept. We haven't. We didn't. At the end of the round, you can voluntarily discard tactic cards from your hand and draw back up.
You just did the thing I always did. I just read that comment.
Oh.
Now you look like a fool.
We call it being a Steven. Just kidding.
Okay, so I'm going to activate Mance, but I'm going to play some stuff here because it's hilarious.
Yeah, it was very focused.
The Endless Horde, when you claim a tactic zone, replace the effect with the following. Redeploy 1 previously destroyed friendly free folk infantry unit into a friendly deployment zone. Attachments are not returned. So I get to deploy something that's off the table. Back in.
What?
Endless Horde. You can have fun with that. But I don't get the attachments with it. So I'm going to put the Skellies back in. Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? Actually, maybe I'll do the Spears. Because the Skellies aren't good against the Unsullied. The Unsullied are too trained.
That's crazy.
Yeah. As I said, who's laughing now? Oh, it means I get the bear back.
No, you get it without the attachments. That's what it says.
It's not an attachment at all.
The skin changes an attachment.
Yeah, that's true.
So they just come back basic.
So I've got a short range attack here. I might actually be able to get up there and... Can I charge in range? No, I can't, can I? Attack, it just says attack. So can I charge into a range attack?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You ever had a bowman charge?
Listen up, kid. Do you have another spear person? I'll put this one here. He'll be my leader, but not the cool one. Okay, so I get to deploy, and that's within short range of our little...
Just basically put them on the edge of the camera.
And so then a charge would be what? And what's my short range? So if I could get to you...
Now, you probably want to put yourself over here so that you don't run into your own giant. You know what I mean?
There's no way I can charge that far.
I haven't gone yet, though.
I'm trying to just see where you're short... Well,
I might end up here.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Cool.
Sure.
Oh, you brought the spears back. You could bring the...
They're not good against the Unsullied. The Unsullied panic tests are too strong, and their whole thing is panic the enemy.
Scaring me?
Yeah, so if you're not going to be scared, I may as well take some
the
spear
Unsullied
shots
fear
at you.
nothing. Feel nothing, fear nothing.
Now it says if I control the horse spot, which I just did, I'm deployed without an activation node, so I get to go this round, which is cool.
All right, my turn.
Yours, yeah.
Well, we can.
Objectives. What are those? We're here to wreck.
I think I've got one under here.
Yeah, not for long though. I almost got one with the giant there, but we all know how that went. You cannot do a ranged attack at the end of a charge. As much as I want to imagine a charge of spears being thrown, I can't do it. Thank you, West Coast. I appreciate that. Got that gnat back. I'm going to have to get it again.
Look who's back. Back again.
Gnat again.
Let's go. Let's play some.
I need you to rev this giant up. Get me some wounds. Get me my monocle.
I'm going to
I
go
want to look rich.
with Daenerys Targaryen. I'm going to play her on the combat space. You're going to get it.
Do you know that
Karate Kid strikes again. There he is.
You know what's insane? The Sikhs, I think it is.
That's probably really good for the audio.
Yeah, sorry. But the extreme version of Sikhs, they actually wear face coverings so they don't accidentally inhale like gnats and stuff because they're so anti-killing things. They won't kill anything. Amazing. They'll even be like, they don't walk, like they walk certain ways so they don't step on stuff. Pretty amazing. I think it's the Sikhs.
I'm playing Danny there. She's going to attach to my Unsullied. So she's going to hang out over here. I'll put this this guy here. And she's going to let them make a free attack.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
So they roll 7. I'm going to attack Tormund's little group. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Roll poorly, would you?
I don't know how to do that.
Those things are loaded. Roll your dice.
3s hit, so the 2s fail. So I only got 5.
Yeah, only 5. So 5 coming at me. I have a 5+. Oh yeah, 3 successes.
Take
2
2.
wounds. It's one more rank down.
Take a panic test.
The weapons are getting less good. I panic really easily, right? I'm a 9, I think. 8+. Oof, panic for 2 wounds. Whoo!
It's down to Tormund.
Phew! Hello.
All right, you're up. Let's see. Northern says, P.S. Team Covenant, dang you for getting me hyped about an out-of-print game manager to snap a starter box for Android.
Netrunner, yeah.
And I just need to convince someone to get one too. Netrunner's fantastic, so I don't feel bad about it. West Coast saying, question. You haven't finished 2 rounds yet. How do you feel about the mechanics/difficulty to learn?
It's fantastic. It's super easy. It's like, it's flowing very smoothly. It's much better than I would have appreciated otherwise.
Yeah, I
Wait,
don't.
hold on. I need to do this. I'm going to influence you here, and I'm going to give you a condition.
They can't have conditions.
Are you kidding me?
They're Unsullied.
Then here, hold on. I'm going to do that instead here. I should have done that last time, and I can give you...
Break my sword.
What is it that makes you attack for less?
So if you give me the weakened,
Yeah.
you can make me re-roll my attack dice.
I'm going to do that. Yeah.
So then technically I hit for 5. I'd have to re-roll these 5.
Yeah, just do reroll 5. I might take fewer wounds.
A lot fewer.
Oh.
So then it's 2. So then now roll 2.
Do you want me to reroll here? Yeah.
Yeah. Because you technically took 4.
I technically took 4.
So
So
you cancel 1.
No, I hit on 5s. So I take 2 wounds
2
instead
instead of 4.
Okay. And then we can say I still failed the morale test. It's fine with me.
Okay.
Okay, Mance. That's what I'm talking about. Oh wait, you also have -1 attack die. It's all right. I'll take it.
Oh, because of Mance.
Because Mance, yeah, he's awesome. All right, so now I activate. Maneuver. I need my cards. Coming back in here. All right, crude spear people.
What up, Carl? Mance came from the tactics board, so Steven played him over there.
That was the last turn. We forgot to resolve his ability.
When you play him, he gets to his ability. He influences one of the enemies, so he's influencing my horse lords.
All right, so we're just going to maneuver here, and I can move up to 10. And what I'm going to do
You
is
can just put that like right next to them.
I'm just going to cover the token.
Okay. Yes. Give the Unsullied something to do. I gotta watch out for that giant, though.
Leave my giant alone, would you? I mean, come on, yeah, deal with these spears. Now, is there some tactics to, like, if I could, like, you know, do this kind of stuff? Like, does that impact you at all?
Maybe.
I don't know. Let's keep it straightforward.
All right, so
Can you take, like, could you bring 7 tactics board people if you wanted? Or 5 or whatever?
I mean, I think you can, but there's only so many points.
Mm-hmm.
They cost usually 2 to 5 points each.
So I could have, like, all tactics in one unit? That would be hilarious.
Presumably,
if that
maybe.
actually works, that's like a crazy cool design space.
All right.
3 is the meta, says Northern
The giant has 5 health.
Important notes about the giant. You take 1 wound for every 2 hits. Every 2 unblocked hits. So technically got to do 10 damage. And every wound I get is going to make me stronger on the attack, doing more damage back to you. So, you know, come and get it. Punch on a little bit. Card got errated. What did? Giant has 6 now.
We'll go with it.
I've got 6 wounds now because of errata. Thank you, errata. So, gone, yeah? I'll give you your token. Did they go?
Mm-hmm. I have one over here as well.
Nance went, or Tormund went, Giant went, Spearman went. So this is the last.
Yeah. Here
And-
come. Oh, and I'll get to go first next round.
Did we
too.
flip first, back and forth?
Every time.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So my Unsullied are going to charge.
Tormund.
It's funny because if I charge the giant, I'm going to have to be here, and you're just going to be right. The space to charge into my side.
You're going to get
Unsullied.
flanked like you've never been flanked before.
But I also can't just leave a giant there
Well,
to do giant things. So they're going to charge the giant,
yes.
and we're going to snap here.
Oh, my.
I guess technically I could snap. Can I snap here
To the middle?
to basically?
Am I snapped here? Because there's an angel's hair of space if you were to do that.
Why can't I charge the giant? So like, I was here, and I feel like I can go here.
You can get past that corner, right?
Yeah, and then snap it.
Yeah. It just probably the board just doesn't look like it. We got the camera in a little bit of a weird. It looked fine to me, if that makes you feel better. Ding. Pivot, move, pivot.
So it says the side you snap to is determined before you move.
Now that's interesting. Why are we doing it that way?
I assume it's like basically this is more in your front zone, or in yours. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the zones, more of me is in your side zone, so I would snap to your side zone.
So you pivot, right? But can't you just like pivot here and then charge here?
West Coast says the cavalry is blocking you. How?
You need to look at the arcs before you charge. All right, I'm going to go to the rulebook. We've had our first rulebook moment.
That's pretty good. 2 hours in.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. All right, let's see how we actually declare a charge. That's going to be really important. Okay, to charge. A charge, okay. When a unit performs a charge, it must declare a valid target. For an enemy to be a valid target, the following must apply. Must be in the attacker's line of sight. That's correct, right? Yes. I am in your line of sight. The line of sight arc of the target unit must have space for the attacker's trait of fit. Line of sight arc for the target unit, which is this, must have. Okay, so that's this arc, right?
Well, I think line of sight arc is the front arc.
So you can only snap to my front on this?
But like I can charge you from the side. Northern says use the pictures.
It's a really abstract concept. Use the pictures. How much of the opposing unit you can see? The giant's arc has most of the opposing unit in the side.
Yep. So the
So-
giants, most of it, like the side, is
Mhm.
over half of my troop.
Does that mean you snap to the side necessarily? Is that the idea? All right, it says look at the pictures. Okay, I've got pictures here. Front. Okay. The Stark swords are 8 inches away. Their speed is 5. They need to roll a 3 to successfully charge the Lannister guard. Okay.
Okay. So basically, if more of me was in your front arc, I would have to be able to snap to your front arc in order to charge you.
Okay.
But because more of me is in your side arc, I go up, and then I have to snap to your side.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's room for me to do it, then I can do it. So I can't like halfway snap here,
Right.
but I can snap
yeah.
here.
Yeah. That's what we tried to do, wasn't it?
All right. I think just
Oh,
for the
West Coast was saying it looks like the majority of the tray is in the front arc of the Giant, but we were saying it's in the side.
yeah.
So that's close.
And I think that's part of it is the camera angle and where it's coming. So we'll do it.
Said use the roller and you'll see. We've already done it. It's too late.
All right. So I'm charging you. I have 10 dice attack on the Giant. Can I borrow one of your green dice?
Quit.
I like having to say that all the time.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
I feel like as an Unsullied should have come with one extra dice.
Ben Puffett, does the game meet your expectations? Actually exceeds my expectations. This is better than I was
yeah,
expecting it
I'm
to be.
quite enjoying it. 10 here.
Yeah.
Rolling as the Giant, I hit on 2+. 6s can't be blocked.
Hey, that's great.
I hit on 2+, so those fail.
Oh wait, you had to roll your charge die, because you could have a 1 technically.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Would you? You owe me a 1, would you?
6.
That's kind of like a 1, except the opposite.
The opposite.
Yeah.
So the 1s fail. You also can't re-roll 1s on a
good.
charge.
Yeah.
So these hit though. So I'm
Those all hit. Wow.
well 6.
Man, these Unsullied are incredibly good.
Yeah. So 2 hit, you can't defend. 6
Okay.
hit, and you can.
Okay, I'm defending now. Okay, and I defend on a 4+. Okay, so 3 successful defenses.
Okay, so we'll cancel 3 more. Now we're down to 5.
Okay, so for every 2, I take a wound and I discard any of the remainders.
So you're literally gonna take just 2 wounds.
2 wounds.
And then you do damage extra equal to your wounds, right?
Yes. So whenever I successfully hit, it generates, instead of rolling defense dice, you suffer D3 plus 1 wounds with 1 additional for each wound on this model. So it'll be D3 plus 1 and then 2 additional wounds back at you.
And then the flank is -1 to something.
Boom. -1 to my defense rolls, so I'm just going to take 3 wounds.
Okay. And you have 6 health now because of the errata.
Right. Right. So I'm halfway done. You halfway gianted.
I feel like the Giant, it's not insignificant.
Oh, and it's D3 plus 2 now on the Giant. Wow, he keeps getting better over the course of the game as chat
D3 plus 2
chimes
what?
in on when he attacks. D3 plus 2 wounds instead of you rolling defense dice. No defense dice to be spoken of.
Wait, say that again.
So I roll a 2+, I roll 1 die if it's 2 or better. Then I do a D3 plus 2 wounds plus 3 for how much I'm wounded.
So it could be 3, 4, 5.
And there's no,
Plus-
it could be 7 total damage with no defense
Jeez.
rolls. Yeah.
All right.
Well, you know, the Unsullied, all the discipline in the world can't compete with a giant.
So someone's saying Northern Realms, you can reroll 1s on charges, apparently.
These are the rules that I'm liking less.
If you roll a 1, you can't reroll anything. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
So you
That's
can
fine.
always reroll 1s, yeah? You can reroll those 2 1s. And then I'll roll 2 more defense dice.
And then you can only take 2 wounds max per panic test. So 2 more.
2 more attacks. 1 success, because this is
The one
minus
hit
1.
would just
So
disappear.
it discards. And then I do a panic test, right? Giants can't panic. So 3
3+.
plus. They panic on Snake Eyes. Got 6.
Only way to panic is Snake Eyes.
Okay, got it. And we had a maximum of 2 wounds for panic tests on the Giant. Okay. All right. So the Giant is just better in 1,000 ways since he's launched. Pretty impressive. That's the end of everything, right?
I technically have Illyrio left.
Oh, no.
So
Dang.
we're going to do that. I assume you have to pass.
Sure, yeah.
I'll put him
I don't have a
on
turn. I got nothing to activate.
the money bag. Restore up to 3 wounds and remove 1 condition token from a unit. So I don't have any condition tokens to remove, but I will restore 3 wounds here on the Unsullied. So put 1 back, and we'll switch these. And they'll fully recover.
Okay.
End of round.
End of round.
So clear activations. Get these back. You can discard any number of cards
Yeah.
and then draw back up.
All right, discard and draw 2. I like that I only have 3 cards. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. Well. If I target a combat unit, does it also target the attachment to that unit? It's like 1 piece, probably?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. All right. It's not important. All right, go for it.
Oh, Illyrio has an effect, apparently. That's really good. Now I know. I'll save it.
You gonna wait?
This passes to me.
You can if you got a chance, you can trigger it if it would have mattered.
I'm fine. Let's go with my Dothraki. They're going to just do a melee attack against Tormund. I get to roll 7.
Melee attack against Tormund.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me see. So what are your abilities on that card before you activate? Because there's something interesting here.
They have 3 wounds. If it's targeted...
Onslaught doesn't matter. Enemy successfully charged doesn't matter. Cavalry doesn't matter. Okay. Then we will continue as we like.
All right, rolling 7. I need 3s or better to hit. 1 failed. 6 hits.
They're dead.
I don't know. We'll see.
Need 5 pluses here. No flanking matters. 3 successes.
Doesn't that 5 hit?
Oh, it does. 4 successes.
She'll take 2 wounds.
2 wounds.
Yep, and a panic test.
Huzzah! This is the time when they... Tormund, stick in there, buddy. No.
3 wounds.
Tormund dead.
Yeah, Northern Realms, you're totally right. So I could have played one of my commanders on the tactics zone.
Just taking a swing.
And a free attack, and then they would still have their action left.
Yeah.
Which would mean they could like charge or move and attack or whatever.
Yeah.
But...
Very good. Very good.
Now, did you control a point under here?
I did, yeah.
So you actually score a point from that.
Oh, we care about those points now? I thought we were just smashing.
Well, they do exist. Is there another one under him?
Not fully.
Not fully. Almost.
Yeah, not fully. So they just went. They're activated. Okay.
Yeah, they got the little...
Okay. All right. And what are your abilities on the Unsullied? What do they say?
Can't gain condition tokens, the 6s can't be blocked, and they can make a free attack instead of activating.
Interesting.
Cool, cool, cool.
Okay, and it's only during the turn. Okay. All right, so basically what I've got to do is I've got to figure out...
It's got to be giant smash
I'll
time,
probably
right?
giant it, but I also have some abilities that get better if I have 2 things engaged with you, which is interesting. But let's giant smash. So let's do an attack.
Is he pivoting? I want to do that too, where you just move the model.
Oh man, I took that objective token with me too.
Downtown.
All right, objective. Come on now.
Yoan's saying, loving the game. Thanks for sharing it. Happy to do it. Glad to finally get to check this out.
Now, you know what we could do? Yeah, this is better, right? So let's take Mance, and then they can't gain conditions.
Right.
The Unsullied are out of control. Okay, hold on.
Thanks, West Coast. You're really helpful. Same with you, Northern Realms.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to activate with Mance. At the start of a turn, I have some things. Target 1 enemy combat unit. If I have 2 or more friendly units within short range, which I do, right? They lose all abilities. And then if I control the horse, I can give them 1 condition token. So I'm going to go to at the start of the turn, I'm going to play this, so the Unsullied will lose all abilities.
Okay.
Including their ability, I presume, to not gain condition tokens.
I assume, yeah.
Now, if that comes back to the condition drop off, it's like in
But they lose
Thrones,
it for their whole round, right?
the turn.
So you'd have to be able to give them a condition and use it the same turn.
Because it would drop off, right? It's like no attachments in Game of Thrones card game, that weird thing. Hold on, this may not be the right thing to do then.
Northern says that's exactly right.
Okay, so what conditions could I give you? After an enemy rolls a morale test, force them to re-roll, so they're good at morale tests anyway. Rolling defense dice, you have to re-roll, but you don't roll defense dice against the giant. And roll attack dice, re-roll any. So there's no point in doing it. So instead, maybe we'll do something different. You would technically, with Mance's ability, get -1 attack, but then it would fall off. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Huh. So actually, Mance, what are you up to?
On the table, this is good. It says they just can't gain them when that ability's on. Just because they have the ability not to gain them, if they already have it, they have it.
I love it. Okay, so Mance is going to, so we're going to play that card to blank them. So that is surrounded and exposed. They lose all abilities.
Okay.
We'll play Mance to give something a friendly unit to make a free attack action. We'll also go ahead and influence Mance on these Unsullied. And then whenever he comes in, he gives them a condition. So I'll give them a weakened to make them worse at attacking.
Okay.
And they also have -1 attack for Mance's passive. So they're just going to get a lot worse, which is nice. Now the Giant goes.
I want to see what this Giant can do.
Well, I'm probably going to roll a 1. So
on a 2+, it does this thing. Okay.
And we'll see what happens.
2, yeah.
4. Boom. Okay, so now it says if this attack generates any hits, instead of rolling defense dice, the defender suffers D3 plus 2 wounds because of the errata, and 1 additional for the wound tokens that I have. So D3 plus 2. Oof. So 5 plus the number of wounds I have, which is 3. That would be 8 wounds are suffered. Wow, that is a clean sweep off of 2 ranks there.
Yikes. You can just picture that Giant just like a whole army of Unsullied there. Okay.
Wow, that's cool. Take care, Northern Realms.
And then I have to make a panic test still? Is that right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to roll 2d6 and my d3. I got a 5, and they only need a 4 to not panic.
Wait, is there a -1 coming from somewhere? Somebody give me a -2 or something, you know? You think we can do?
Technically, if you'd given them the panicked token, you could expend it to make me reroll one of these dice. Like the 4 specifically, because you know I have a 1 and a 2 sitting here.
What do you hit on the weekend token for rerolls purposes? You hit on the 2+. So that's kind of worthless too, huh?
You should have just given me a panicked.
All right, let's do it.
And then you'll spend it immediately. Make me reroll the 4?
Well, now, if I don't spend it, you get -1 from Mance's ability. So it's like I can give you -1 attack.
Like if I Snake Eyes here, though, it's real good.
Yeah, okay, we'll do it. We'll pretend like I did that instead.
Or you can give me -1, but like, if this is even because what's my thing? I need a 4. So I guess if I hit a 3, I'm still fine.
Let's keep it clean. I'll keep it where it is. Weekend is fine.
All right.
We'll just leave you weekend.
All right. Mine?
All yours.
Is that all you can do?
That's all, man. The Giant taking out 8 of your troops is pretty cool. Vulnerable might be better. Expended after an enemy rolls defense dice. Force them to reroll any of those. Oh, yeah, because then the Spearman could make you do that. That's fine. Yeah, PogChamp saying this game is like a card game plus miniatures game in one, which is awesome. 100%.
Well, let's use those Unsullied before they can't be used.
That's right. What's your top rank? 6?
6.
That's still respectable.
They're going to just swing at the Giant. Rolling 6.
All right, you got -1 die because of Mance. So you're rolling 5.
Let's do it. 2s are better. 4.
All right, let's re-roll all 4 of those with your token there.
You got it.
Oh, who's laughing now?
2.
All right. So Nathan was saying that was a bad play because you roll a 2+, but I knew you were going to roll 2 1s.
That's right.
So
You were there. You were in the zone.
it's all okay. 6 I can't defend against, yeah?
Yeah, so you got to roll 1.
If I succeed, it's going to do nothing.
Yep.
I do not succeed.
The narrator, he did not
He did not succeed. All right, another wound token stacks up here. So 4 of 6 on the Giant. Okay.
We're getting there.
Ring around the hearts. Okay. So now, here's what we can do. So these are my options, right? So I've used Mance. I haven't technically used the Giant yet. So I need to sweep you up with this Giant. Or I could use the Spearman, and then I could charge into your Horseman with the Giant, assuming that I clear these guys with the Spearman. That's fascinating. So spear toss versus crude spear. So I can do the ranged attack, or I could do the melee. The melee seems right because it gives me a reroll and it gives you sunder. So I'm gonna charge into you.
What allowed you to attack me with a giant and not activate?
The Mance. One
Oh,
friendly
nice.
unit make
Yeah,
a free
yeah.
attack.
I should have used that space.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so we're gonna charge here. We're gonna roll the charge. Wait, that's a D3. I don't like the odds there. Charge die is a 2,
Got a
so
2 anyway.
we'll get to reroll. So I'll move,
On the snap.
snap. I could technically snap here.
Mhm.
Yeah, everything snaps up nicely. Then we're gonna just roll the attacks here. So I've got a full rank at 7 dice. You're -1 to defense save rolls. So you're gonna have to roll. What's your normal? It's 4 plus.
4.
You can roll 5 plus. Here comes 7. Oof. I get to reroll, so that's good. So there's 4 pluses. Roll 4. 2 more. So you currently have 5.
I need 5 pluses.
You got 5 plus.
I
1,
got
2.
2.
2 successes versus, so you're going to take 3 wounds. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Now make your panic test.
All right. 2. I need
Here we go,
a
panic.
4 plus.
Panic. Oh wait, hold on, you're in the flank. So -1 on that 5.
On what 5?
On the 5, 6 that you rolled
I
for
take the
defense.
damage.
You take a damage, yeah. You're gone.
They gone.
Flanking's important.
Let me just put these all back in.
Thank you, the Killjoy. We got it. We just haven't quite appreciated flank yet.
Positioning matters, which is cool. It's a cool way to do it.
Very nice. Look at this thing turning right around for old Steven.
All right, all right. Mine?
Yeah.
Let's use...
I'll form the head. Now I can take a maneuver because I just killed a unit.
Yep,
And I can move through my own stuff. As long as I don't end on it.
yep.
And I can maneuver for 5. So I don't think I can get through. Yeah, there's no way. Now, I can't pivot if I would hit my giant, right?
Right. You have to be able to naturally
I could
pivot.
like pivot this way, I suppose. I'm gonna do that. I'll just pivot. But I want the giant to be able to pivot so I can go boom. Yeah, okay, so I'll pivot kind of so that the giants more or less can get out of the way. So the
Okay.
giant can turn and
We saw how the old horse lords did against the spear wives.
yeah, that's a good matchup for you, I think.
All right, mine?
Yeah, what's your activation? Yeah.
I have things, surprisingly. Now that my Unsullied are sullied. Let's go with...
How's it going, Aiden? Good to see you.
What up? Daenerys Targaryen. Second of her name.
Don't you make me panic now. So you can make me panic.
Wait, the giant hasn't gone yet?
Giant has not gone yet. You could bravely run away.
No, I'm gonna play Illyrio Mopatis. He has a once per game. When he claims a tactic zone, I can replace that zone's effect with remove an activation token from a friendly combat unit.
Oh, cool.
So instead of doing whatever trigger I'm gonna cover up,
You're going to horse around.
let's cover up the letter sending. And I'll remove this activation token from my Dothraki.
Okay. Well occurs. So now we have to like have tactics and stuff.
Yeah, Chad saying, I'd almost prefer the normal camera setup. I don't think the top-down view gives minis any justice.
You can see them, look.
It definitely is not the same
at this
with
beautiful-
miniatures, but it's
You
way
can kind of catch it here.
it's
right?
way
You
easier to see the board.
It looks like a battlefield.
Yeah, you just have all these units across. It's way easier to see the board from up top because like you couldn't really tell what was going on in the other camera.
Okay. Well, I guess the giant's going to go. Now, things that I could do, I suppose, is try to run, but you're on horseback. I'm not gonna be able to run away from you by like coming.
Although the
back
idea
here.
of a giant running from the Dothraki is hilarious. And they're just riding him down.
Oh, the giant could have pivoted too. Okay, those are cool. Since it was engaged with the Unsullied when they died, so
yeah.
everything can maneuver or whatever.
I assume though, like if you move or charge.
I'm
now,
gonna charge, right?
The thing would be if you were gonna march twice your speed, then you pivoting in a certain direction would have been.
So I could have like pivoted out and then marched double.
Yep.
But then you get to move before you move, right?
Yeah.
Because you're horses.
Move and charge. You can't outrun the horse lords.
No,
Just
you
not
can't.
even happening.
No, you can't. Because I don't want you to charge me because you got all sorts of charge abilities.
Then you get vulnerable. Yeah. It's bad news beats.
All right, so charge on.
You may as well. You got to roll it though. Give me that one.
I mean, I'm going there anyway. That was a pretty
It's
sketchy
mainly the
roll,
re-roll or
honestly. Okay. Now, I could also try to sit on that objective and then just die, but I'm not gonna do that.
We're down to the.
Yeah, we're down to
that's
the,
an-
down to the
we,
wire.
We decided
Let's
this
go.
was a blood match.
Let's go.
So give me that one now, baby. Ah,
There's
he
a
hits.
5. All right, so a D3 plus 2. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage coming to the horses.
3, 6, plus 2,
Mm-hmm.
7, 8.
All right.
Panic test. Here we come. They panic on a 5 or lower.
Here we go.
Plus 1 from the tree. So it's a 4 or lower.
Oh my gosh.
4. Whew.
You get plus 1?
No, I panic.
You panic.
I take 4.
Wait, no, you needed a 4 plus, right? Because
So
of the tree?
normally it's a 6.
Oh, it's a 6.
Yeah, so I missed.
The tree's plus 1. You're panicking.
So I take 1, which is enough to do here, and 3 more, which is
Oh
enough
my
to take
gosh,
me out.
the giant.
Kyle got scared of the giant. Yeah, I'm trembling in my boots.
I love it. Right as Monty said the Dothraki seem impressive, they panic and totally destroy themselves.
Yep. So if I live, my play, because you've activated at that point, my plan was to use the money bag with Danny to restore a Dothraki.
Why don't we let I want to see this, right? So I feel like let's leave
So like, if I don't panic,
let's
there-
assume you don't panic.
Okay, so
let's
if I
keep
don't
it going.
panic,
Let's
just,
keep it going.
just
Yeah.
to see it,
I want to see what you can get up to.
because you're out for the round basically, right?
Tim, yeah, we do have a motorized slider actually, and we could do the panic shot. We did that for actually the God tier demo at Gen Con. If you watch that one, the problem is right now our production team is this because everybody is not in the office because we don't want to infect everybody with this virus. So we have to kind of just do what we're capable of on our own. But there is a future where these things are going to be way more
that's
beautiful.
possible.
Yes.
So if I didn't panic, I'm going to play Daenerys on the money bag. So I get to recover 3 on a unit, which is going to go here. And then she'd technically attach, and they would get +1.
Very
so she'll
nice.
hang out with them. And then you would go and pass probably.
Yeah, I got nothing else to do, yeah.
Then I would get to attack, and I still have my 2 rows, so I'm rolling a 7. So I'll roll 7, and I need 3s to hit. So it would be 5 damage.
5 damage, so I got 5, and every 2 counts as a wound. Whoop, 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 whoop. I love how we just, you know, that's the miniatures thing, right? So we've been doing this forever. Miniatures things are like, if the dice fall out of your hand, even though it's a perfectly valid roll,
keep
you're like,
it.
no, okay.
Are you
sometimes-
going to keep it, or are you going to roll it?
Sometimes you got those players that are like, they see it drop on a 6, and they'll immediately drop the rest of them
Yeah.
because they know. We don't play with those players. Okay, so what do I need to block? A 4
4.
plus? So you're not on a flank.
Nope.
Nothing matters there. So I block 2, and I take 3 damage. Is that right?
Yep, so you're only going to take 1
So I
wound.
take 1 wound. Yeah. Boy, the giant feels like a giant. I mean, I can't hate that.
And so you'd have 1 health left?
Yes.
It's fine. We'll just do this.
Thank you.
So you have 1 health left, and you're going to go first.
Yeah.
That's going to be bad.
So I pass again because I've got nothing to do. Right? You have anything to do?
Nope.
All right, let me
So
see.
we go end of round. You would score a point here,
Yeah. Give me that victory point.
and then we clear everything, move the round up. These come here.
The kills it. This game is awesome. Yes, that is true.
This goes here.
So isn't
goes
that
back.
crazy? Like, think about this game. If you pass that panic test, you're in a pretty good spot. I mean, you're in a really good spot. And if you don't, you literally lose. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And this is what miniatures games do, and it's what they have to do. I've come around on this. I used to hate it so much, how random things could feel. But if you really want to think about the fog of combat, as it were, and you appreciate it from a flavor perspective, and you're watching a story unfold instead of trying to like win at all costs, then you really just have to appreciate that story, which is like a giant ran up, clobbered a couple of the Dothraki, and they were spooked and they ran away, basically. But if you care about winning a lot, then you're going to hate it.
Well, and I mean, the thing is, it's just odds management, right? We've played
All
games with dice
games,
all over the place, and the reality is like it just creates uncertainty, which a lot of people think it's like, I have bad luck. You'll always hear those players in miniatures games, and it's like, if I was good at this game, I would have known my odds of all that happening, and I would have made better decisions.
Right? How dare you? Okay, I'm going to get rid of both of my cards because I want to see more.
Yeah, looking through it, what all this stuff does.
Aiden asking, are we hyped for the in-flight? We don't know what to expect. We'll keep an eye on it. If they do online Keyforge, I'm so in.
I would be unbelievably excited. So looking at all my tactics cards, it's true what they say, which is the Dothraki need a lot of space to roam. Because all my stuff is like on a successful charge. So like I need to be able to charge and move and charge
and then
move.
disengage and roll over there. Yeah, you got to feel like cavalry. Okay.
How do you feel about the wildlings?
Oh, this is awesome.
You like the giants?
I love wildlings. Yeah, come on, this is incredible. All right, I get the first action, right? I'm gonna use Mance.
I technically act like I'm dead, but we can roll it.
No, I think we should keep going.
All right.
Let's keep rolling it. I want to see how this would resolve if the horsies stayed put. Chad, I also hope for an Outer Rim expansion. That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Weirdly like high on my list of things.
David Stan, I agree with you, David. Randomness as a core mechanic for telling a story is one of the best explanations for why uncertainty is great in games. Yeah, otherwise it's too cerebral, and that's what card games are most of the time. That's a cerebral, analytic experience. Miniatures is about enjoying the show and watching a movie that you're the director of. You know, like we're co-directing
you're playing a part in. You're almost an actor in it. The Kill just says the best part about this game is that it's alternate activations. No one activates his whole army for like 30 minutes, and it's a constant back and forth. Yeah, which is a good sign. That's a good game design.
So I've actually got a lot of different things that could possibly happen based on the cards in my hand. Now, if I'm snapped here to you, I can't like snap over here with any and attack you, right?
I don't think so.
I can't like charge into a different part of your
I don't
model.
think so.
And if I did happen to pivot here, I could maybe, so I'm thinking like, if I pivoted like this.
That is a weird positioning, isn't it?
Right? So like I could catch this corner like right here, maybe? If I pivoted like this. And then it would be like, I'd have to roll probably a 3, 2. But I'm not going to do that.
Well, and interestingly though, like here's my line. So more of you is in my front arc.
Oh, so I have to charge your front.
So you'd have to charge my front.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. So instead, Mance is going to use Mance's ability.
Pete saying I'm hoping for a Journeys into Middle-earth Marvel version, personally. That's
Oh
the
my gosh.
app integrated game.
How about an Arkham Horror skinned as
Anything?
Android? Or there was like a YouTube comment recently. Android.
Star Wars. Everyone always says Star Wars.
Star Wars co-op mission would be super fun. All right, Mance activates, and Mance is going to influence the Dothraki.
Yeah, do anything with the Arkham IP.
Isn't it?
So you're going to go with Mance to do a free attack with the giant.
For a free attack with the giant.
Are you going to give me a weekend or
I'm
something?
going to give you something. I don't think panicked. You're within one of the tree. Vulnerable. Or weakened. What's your attack? A 3+? You'd be -1 attack die.
Vulnerable seems pretty alright. You're just trying to finish me out.
Well, you don't roll defense dice against the giant.
Oh, useless.
But if I need to clean up with the spearman after this, let's do that. Let's do vulnerable. Because you are vulnerable.
All right.
I can see you're teetering on the edge of running away.
All right, now roll that 1.
All right, so here comes the mighty swing. We were swinging.
And we were swinging. What do you got? Hits.
4. Man, that
Those
would
Giants
be
are
such a
crazy.
stressful. Okay, here comes the D3. Oh my gosh. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wounds.
1.
That's exactly how many I needed.
4, 7.
Technically, 3
10.
more. That would have cleared the whole unit.
Buried me.
Almost.
Bam. Beat me twice.
Wow. Yeah, put him back in. I want to swing again. Get that Dothraki Pinata going.
Those Giants are not a joke. You like. I feel like with the Giants, the strategy is like you don't touch them unless you can kill them.
That was insane.
Because
Yeah,
like
you
if I
kinda
hadn't
need a dog
piled,
pile.
you just have to be able to take them off the board.
That felt strong. So if I didn't have the come back in card, the tactics card where I get to zombie back in, I mean, literally the end of the game is 1 wound from you winning.
And those guys coming in, that is how you got a ton of my Unsullied off the board.
got down, yeah, too.
Yeah, but that was a really tight game. But
So-
that's what they do, right? That's what the Wildlings have, a couple of tactic cards that lets them get a basic unit back.
How many Endless Horde do we have in here? Oh my gosh. There's only 1 Endless Horde card.
There's
in
one you
the
played.
deck. Did I play it already?
I think you
Okay,
played it.
2
Yeah, there's
Endless
2.
Horde
I think it's
cards.
2 out of 20. So like, you know, you see 3 plus 3 a turn. You're probably going to hit at least one of those in a game. So when you're playing Wildlings, you should expect them to get a free unit back. And then maybe 2 if they're lucky.
So can you...
Or as saying there's 2 of each card.
Can you sort out your Targaryen cards? We'll go to the main shot here. Sort out your Targaryen cards. I want to kind of see what our factions are doing. I can tell what I'm trying to do.
Well, you want your mind blown. You should look at, there's a ton of Wildling cards that we have.
You get
Like
to choose?
units, these stuff.
Oh,
these
like
stuff,
the
yeah.
units and stuff,
And
yeah.
your commander totally changes it, right?
Yep, yep. That gets me excited. That's the kind of thing that's awesome. What's up, Nathan Huber? Hey, fellas, checking out the stream from the UK. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Thanks so much, Nathan. It's great. This is a super fun miniatures game. I actually am a pretty big fan now at this point. As I said, if you
You were
had told
convinced.
me, if you had told me that I'd be touching trays in tabletop gaming
Ever?
a year ago, I would have told you you're insane.
All right, so here's a rundown of the Targaryen tactic cards. First one is Swift Retreat. After a friendly combat unit is attacked with a melee, it may immediately make a free retreat action. If I control the movement horsey space, one enemy they disengage with suffers D3 wounds.
Oh, that's so cool! You get to slash him up as you leave the fray, basically.
Yeah, but you have to be smart over there. Overrun is when a friendly combat unit destroys an enemy with a melee attack. Instead of maneuvering, that unit may pivot and then make a free charge action.
That's incredible.
If you control that same space, you get +2 to the charge distance.
Wow.
Fire and Blood, after a friendly combat unit successfully charges, choose 1. This attack gains precision, meaning 6 don't get defense saves. Or this attack gains vicious, the defender suffers -2 to their panic test. If you control the fast space, both.
So you want to control the horse space. That makes sense, right? That's
Yeah,
so
the
wildly
horse
thematic.
Fury of the Dragon, when you claim a zone on the tactics board, replace that zone's effect with 1 friendly combat unit may make a 1 free maneuver or retreat action. Until the end of the round, each time a friendly combat unit successfully charges, the defender becomes panicked or vulnerable, your choice.
I would love to see this army on a lot of space.
Unstoppable Advance. At the start of a friendly turn, attach this to a friendly combat unit until the end of the round. While attached, this unit gains +1 speed, ignores dangerous, hindering, and rough terrain, and cannot suffer disorderly charges.
Oh, that's nice.
Hit and run.
So you're all about charging
Yeah,
and movement.
That's what I was
yeah?
saying. I need the space.
Yeah.
After a friendly combat unit completes a melee attack, makes a free retreat, automatically rolls a 6 for the retreat value. If I control the fast space, the enemy becomes weakened. So there's 2 ways to disengage in the stack. And then Blood of the Dragon, when a friendly combat unit successfully charges, attach this card to the unit until the end of the round. While attached, the unit automatically passes all panic tests and can't become panicked.
Oh, nice.
So they're just fast, charging.
Fast and high morale.
They basically want to
yeah.
charge in, hit, retreat back, charge in again, hit. It's just like the horse just strafing you.
I would love to play this on a 4x6, right? Wouldn't that be so fun?
ever
Especially
think
if you
you'd
had
say
some
that?
friends. Like
Oh,
if you
dude.
had a couple of
2v2.
people, 2v2, and like, especially if I could bring like half of an army with a commander and they could
Well,
bring half an army with their commander.
So let me weave you a tale.
So I'll be
You ready
like
for this?
Mance and they'll be Tormund and we have a big wildling army between us.
It also means that like the amount of stuff you're managing is a lot lower.
Yes, which I always like that stuff.
This is what's crazy to me.
So real quick, what were my point costs? So the giant was a point cost of 7, And to put it in perspective, the spearmen were a point cost of 5.
Spearwives.
So the spearwives are 2 less points than the giant. That
Which is
seems
a big,
about right.
a big difference. So this was the Game of Thrones, but like check out this. A Clash of Kings is another format. And you literally have a deployment zone in each corner of the map. And then you actually basically you don't start with all of your things in play, but they keep coming into play.
Oh, nice. It's like a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and then there's literally its name for the books: A Storm of Swords, A Feast for Crows, The Winds of Winter.
Guys are smart.
But in
That's the smart way to do
Storm
it.
of Swords, one side's the defender, one side's the attacker.
Here, we can show it to the camera here.
Yeah, one side's the defense and one's the attacker, and you have these walls, and you're basically protecting your castle. So one person is sieging and the other person is defending. And then they have rules for multiplayer and whatnot. So you get it. I mean, it's obviously I think with a game like this, it's a big commitment to play any game this wide, like this many models. If you're going to paint it and play it, if you're really into this universe, so the recognition is giving people a bunch of different ways to play.
Yeah,
makes the value of this thing go through the roof.
I love the way this looks. I'll tell you this.
My empty tray.
Here's what I'll say, and maybe this is. I would play this, and it's probably just because I like this world better for minis games. I would play this over Legion. I would prefer this style of game over Legion. I think I'm sold on the trays, and just the cleanliness of removing the models, and the cleanliness of the snapping and movement,
and the cleanliness
the tactics board,
line of sight. Right, you don't have the true line of sight where you're doing your thing. Because Legion kind of addresses some of the same problems in that, when you move your commander, all the other stuff snaps with it.
Yeah, it snaps with it, yeah.
So it's not this. You still have to measure that one model, but you don't have to measure the whole platoon. But
I think these models look outstanding. The dynamic horse poses, it looks like they're charging.
That is the thing that gets it for me. It's the moment I don't have to assemble.
Yeah.
I personally take slightly less quality models for assembly because you get these to the table way more. In any game where you're having to assemble before you start, that's just such a hurdle for so many people.
Yeah, a lot of times you don't start.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
The tactics board is one of the most clever things. The tactics board sells this game, actually. Without the tactics board, it's just another miniatures game. With the tactics board, it's Game of Thrones.
Well, I think the tactics board and the I lost my train of thought completely.
What else makes it Game of Thronesy? The hand, 3 cards, clean 3-card hand is good. Objectives, all having these cards underneath them is good.
I think I now get it. The big upsides to me, the tactics board make it. I think that's the most thematic part of it. It feels like you have people working in the background to change the fight. I also think the rules being mostly on the cards and not being overly complex on the terrain pieces or we didn't. We
were
jumped
in 5 seconds.
We were there,
yeah.
Which is for a miniatures game is really impressive. Matt Resner saying, "How's this compare to you for Crisis or compare to you with Crisis Protocol?" So the thing that
totally different,
way different. Now we didn't do too much of the objective stuff, so that's kind of similar. That reminded me of that a little bit. But this is an army game versus the thing that appealed to me about Crisis Protocol, which is why I was willing to get into a game where you assemble something, is that it is a true skirmish game.
And it's just a few high-quality models that you recognize. And
so you're playing usually 4 or 5 models in your army. You technically have a list of 10, but only 4 or 5 on the table. So that's just a very different kind of game than a true. This is somewhere between that and 40K.
Yeah, sure.
It's wider. There's more models going on. It's not. It's more of a war game, but it's very streamlined. It's probably as streamlined for a war game as you can get without losing what it means to be a war game.
I like mechanically the way that you resolve combat in this one better than I do in Crisis Protocol. Because Crisis Protocol is, the upside of it is that every model feels unique because they're all super interesting heroes and villains, right? So they have to be very different. But it also means that every single time I want to do something, I need to reference the card that I want to activate and see how many dice do they roll for the attack?
Yeah.
What does the wild ability do? What's the range on the attack? There's multiple different things. So with this, I know if I can get in melee range as a melee hero, I know my success number, and I roll that many dice. You roll your defense, and then we resolve the wounds. So with Crisis Protocol, I feel like there's a lot of information I have to carry with me. It's I have my 5 models.
Yeah.
This one moves a long distance, and if I'm within medium distance after that long distance, I can push it 3 away with a web blast or whatever, right?
It's because it's trying to make each hero feel very much like that hero.
And you get away with it because there's not that many models.
That's the trick. It's the RAM usage. I think the last time we played the Crisis Protocol Live, we both clicked in the level of like, we're not working to play anymore.
Yeah.
We're just playing the game. But I would say on this, right, I mean, I think it does have the hazard of, it's a balance. It's going back to the podcast, is like the level of granularity and detail you add to like stat lines gives you more space to play, to design things and make them feel different. But also that's more stuff you have to carry with you. So like each of these characters, it's like we have to reference, okay, on a single attack, right? It's like, do I have 3 rows, 2 rows, or 1 row for the number of dice? What's the unique number for this unit that I have to roll to succeed?
Yeah.
Then when I hit, you have to roll a defense based on your defense value. And then if you take any damage, you have to roll the morale.
The panic, yeah.
It's not that much to remember.
It was weird that it felt so natural considering there are so many variables going on.
Yeah.
It's probably because literally all of those numbers are referenced in a single activation most of the time. It's like you literally start from the top. Your move stat because you're charging, then you attack with that number, and then when it's your turn and you're getting hit, you roll your defense, and then next to it is the thing that you roll after your defense roll. So it's aligned, arrayed out nicely. It feels very logical the way that those cards look, and they tell me like, oh, this is when you're going to need to reference this number. Right after defense, here's your panic stat.
Yeah.
So they did a good job of like making it accessible, which I like a lot.
And that's where it's like, I'm trying to figure out, because I know in like Skytear is what's made me recognize when this is happening the most, which is like in Skytear, all models move 3, have a line of sight of 3. Most effects are within 3. Like when you're targeting something, it's within 3. So you don't have to ever remember that. You just remember the number 3 and then apply it to all those things.
Yeah, that's easy, right? And it's the hexes. Too.
Yeah, so in this case, I think if I was getting serious or more intent about this game, more intentional, there were a lot of times where it's like, I didn't really care what your defense was.
Yeah, you didn't look at it and be like, well,
I
this is
like,
the correct tactical move.
Which one is the thing? So I think that also helped. Like being in that zone where, we know like a quick scan was like, most things are 5-ish speed. Most things have 3 or 4 defense.
I think
my attack
standard infantry is like 5+, I think, on defense. Like if you're just standing on the ground.
Yeah, but then like my Unsullied were notable because it was like they hit on 2s.
Yeah, they were very notable.
And they don't panic.
How many points did they cost you?
A lot.
Also, there's only short and long range, which I like.
Yeah,
I mean, that's about as easy as you can do it.
That's a big step. So the Unsullied are 9 points without the commander.
Nice.
And then
2 more points than a giant.
3 more for the commander. So it was 12 of my points.
Now, you mentioned the commander. I think that's actually one of the biggest underground strengths that we weren't able to really like dive into today, which is just the fact that as compared to a game like Crisis Protocol, where I feel like the choice I'm making is what units do I want to include. And because they have those sub-faction things going on, a lot of times it's a pretty linear choice where it's like, okay, if I want to run the Spidey villains, like there's only so many, and you have to run them in this way to get that bonus ability. I feel like the customization would be really appealing to me. Like choosing a different commander to put into these different units, which makes my deck different, what units I actually want to run. All of that is really exciting to me. And like what politicians I want to bring in, like Mance does that cool thing, but what do the other ones do?
Well, it's pretty cool too because there's 3 versions of Mance.
Oof.
There's the political version, which is what you were playing. There's the commander version, which you would attach like you did Tormund to one of your units, and then he would be your commander. Then there's also just the unit version. So like Jorah, same thing. I had him as a unit, but there's a commander version of him.
That's cool.
And so
good way to do it, because like you said, there's so many personalities in this game.
Yeah,
in Game
but
of
like
Thrones.
that literally gives him same model, 3 different things that he can be doing, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, you can have Spearwives, and you can have standard Spearwives, but you can have Spearwives with any number of characters that make them slightly different. So I think that's pretty cool way of doing it. Like you're adding customization without adding too much complexity.
Yep.
Like even Maya had the Screamers with one with Khal Drogo, one with Jorah. And it's like technically they play slightly different, even though they're both Screamer groups. And then deciding which unit to basically add someone to, right?
Yeah.
It's like, because there's Dothraki Screamers, there were Dothraki Veterans for 10.
Oof.
And there's also Dothraki, I forget the name, but they have the bow and arrows. So it's basically, these 2 are the cheap ones,
Horse
and
archers,
then the expensive one is basically both. So you get all the abilities. But they're just more expensive. So
that's cool.
I
like it a lot.
It was very clean. It was very cleanly designed. Like I think it's a very.
This is as clean as it can get. I think. I mean, this is like unbelievably clean.
I think that's the best way to describe it.
It flowed beautifully.
There weren't ever any moments where I was like, that doesn't make sense, or I'm frustrated that that's how this works.
Like disorderly charge is kind of a weird rule. Whether or not you actually needed that in the game, I guess, is a question you could ask. But
I like the idea that like you aren't guaranteed.
I think that definitely is a philosophy, is like most of the things are just not guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
The panic roll is an example of that. Like I said, the disorderly charge is an example of that. Sometimes things just don't work on the battlefield. And that's, the more you can kind of create that without creating a huge amount of variance where players feel like they don't have any control over the match, I think the better off you are, especially in an epic scale miniatures game like this, where you have all these units on the board, and it's just insane to watch it unfold.
Yeah, I mean, I think the super impressive, right, is like, I watched a video, I didn't ever even read through the rule book. We sat down and played, and stream helped with a couple clarifications, but like,
shout out to you guys. Thanks for all
huge,
the help.
huge help. But like, we played through this. I had a good time. I was never confused. My brain's not burnt right now.
Yeah, no, I'm great.
And like,
I'm good to go.
If we were playing this for the first time, it's like next step is like, all right, now I want to look at all my Targaryen cards, rebuild, and play again.
Yeah,
like that's a good sign for a game.
I could do it. I want to run down the wildlings, Zach, while we're here, just to kind of get a feeling of what they're doing. So they seem very swarmy, right?
Yep.
So you have cards like Surrounded and Exposed, which I played. So at the start of the turn, if there's 2 or more friendly units of mine within short range of an enemy, I can blank their card, basically no abilities. So as long as you're swarming well, you can turn off the abilities, which is nice. Then if you have the horse,
crowding them out of whatever it is.
You also gain a condition. I can put a condition on you if I have the horse square. Now, that's where I think this tactic board is the genius part of this game. Like, thinking ahead, cards in hand get more effective if I do the tactics first. If I do the tactics first, my options are maybe less good because some of the tactics are really nice once I'm engaged, etc.
Well, also, like, if you're doing that first, you're not activating.
You're not activating.
I ran into that twice.
Also might want to cover up a space that you might want for your cards, but that would not necessarily help my cards. So we have a nice little card game mechanic going on there, which I like a lot. We have the Endless Horde that redeploy an infantry unit. I am amazed that this card exists without any point limits. I would imagine it should say like redeploy one previously destroyed of 5 or less, or 6 or less, or 7 or less.
But it tags basic unit though, right?
Free Folk infantry unit.
Okay, so I mean, they know what those look like.
I mean, but does that mean we would never see an elite Free Folk infantry unit? It has to, right?
I mean, I assume they would just tag it as something not infantry.
That's fair, yeah. Maybe there's just not elite Free Folk. They're
Apparently,
Free Folk.
by the way, the Killshot is saying you guys did a good job playing difficult. Apparently, these are like pretty. Of the armies out there, these are some of the more complex to play.
Good. Well, then this.
It didn't feel that.
This
it didn't feel bad at all.
Easy then. That's incredible. There's too many. So when you activate a unit, if there are 2 or more enemies engaged with that unit, they suffer a panic test with -2. So you can see how this wants to play, right? I'm going to swarm you.
Yep.
And then right when you go to activate a combat unit, I make you take a panic test at -2. Maybe you lose some. Then those skeletons are around, so you immediately make it a panic test at -2 or whatever. So that's kind of cool that it's just overwhelming and scary to fight against the wildlings.
Yeah.
Swift Advance is when a friendly infantry unit activates, it can make a free maneuver action. If you control the horse, you also gain +1 and can reroll charges. So just some movement, standard. Got Distraction Tactics. When you make a melee attack, you suffer -1 to hit for each enemy engaged beyond the first. So
Okay,
if I
so you
have
hit me with 3
engaged
things
with
at
you,
-2.
Yeah, it's -2. Yeah.
That's really so you want to gang up on me.
That's right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Then we got Regroup and Reform. When a friendly infantry unit activates, I can remove up to 4 models from other friendly infantry units within long range, and then restore that many wounds to that unit.
You're like
Do
recruiting.
the little soak and recruit kind of stuff. If I control the horse, I get 2 additional wounds. It seems like the horse for all of our armies is really important. And then finally, a group assault.
Which is a cool position element for both of us to be fighting.
When a friendly unit makes a melee attack, if there's another friendly unit engaged, I get critical blow, which means 6s cause 2 hits, and also sundering, which means you're -1 to defense. So again, group assault, right? This is the whole idea. Wildlings group up. Now these cards, are these set in stone?
Those are the wildling cards as far as I know.
So if you're running wildlings, you have these plus
Yeah.
your commander cards.
That's kind of what I was curious about, because I assume Targaryen will get more like Unsullied, plus the various armies they recruit. And so like a lot of this is all charge based. And so like in my head, it's like if you have dragons and you have Unsullied, do they necessarily are they also charge based, or are there going to be other tactics decks they introduce? Because I could see them doing like a secondary, like you have multiple tactics decks to pick for a certain faction, or even switching cards out. But
Man, honestly, that's one thing this game does really well now that I'm thinking about it, is they have opened up 1,000 doors for how you can expand it in a meaningful way without feeling like it's getting bloated. Like if you released a Targaryen deck, for instance, like a standalone, just literally a pack of cards, charge $20 for that, and it gives you like 60 new Targaryen cards in packets of 10 or whatever that you can mix and match or choose this one, that stack or
Tactics
that
card.
stack.
You have the commander cards that attach to the units.
Yeah.
You have the I mean, there's a lot there.
Without new models, you can expand this game in a very significant way. Let's see what Tormund was doing. So Tormund is all about, obviously, being an aggressive wildling. So he has 3 cards that he's bringing. Now, are these the only 3 cards that I can bring with Tormund?
Yep, he has those 6 cards.
So countercharge. A friendly combat unit of mine is attacked. I can have another friendly unit immediately make a free charge against the attacker.
Protecting each other.
So that's nice. You attack me here, I charge in and get you. Rush of Aggression is the one I played a couple times, plus 2 dice on charges, and then if it's Torment, it gets a little better. Then Rallying Assault, 1 friendly unit within long range can restore D3 plus 1 wounds. And if it's Tormund's unit, that charge, I can restore 4 wounds, so I get the max if it's Tormund.
If it's Tormund specifically.
Yeah, and that's a cool way to do it,
Nice.
right? You prioritize the unit that's being led by this character and make them feel really special and really awesome, like they're the focus of the action.
Yeah, which makes sense. Khal Drogo had Adravat. When you claim the the fighting zone on the tactics board, attach this card to an enemy combat unit until the end of the round. While attached, melee attacks targeting this unit gain critical blow, so 6s cost 2, and sundering. Defense suffer -1 of their save rolls, so you can just destroy someone.
It seems very Cal.
Devastating impact.
Drogo, I should say.
When a friendly unit declares a charge, they can reroll their charge distance die. They get +2 hits. If I control the military one, act like a 6 was rolled for charge, and they deal 2 wounds instead of 2 hits.
That's incredible.
And then ride by attack. When a friendly unengaged cavalry unit activates, as its action this turn, that unit may pivot, march, and may move through enemies during this march. After completing this action, it may resolve 1 charge attack on
my gosh.
on 1 enemy it passed through,
That's incredible.
including charge bonuses, flank rear bonuses on the defender's line of sight arc the attacker began the action in.
That's so nuts. So you charge through something, resolve the attack, but end up not engaged with them.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
That's
the old
super
Targaryen
good.
homing missile, man. That is so awesome. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this. We'll stick around for another couple of minutes. If you guys have any questions about this game, we're happy to answer them because we just got through our first play. I will say that this is about the cleanest a first play of a miniatures game has ever gone for me.
Easily. Not even close.
Probably not even close, yeah. Even compared to Skytier. So Skytier, you got to learn the mana and the costs and the rules and stuff, even though a lot of this stuff there is simplified. But this played like I thought it should play the moment I started. And there were some nice surprises along the way, too. I think, again, the tactics, I can't say enough good things about that. That was a nice surprise. It didn't even need that for it to be a decent Game of Thrones functioning miniatures game. Adding that tactics board, man,
I think
that's everything.
It just takes it to the 1 notch up, and it makes it feel a little bit more like Thrones and adds a little nuance in a very interesting way.
So David's saying a great video as always. Well, thanks. I'll read that one out loud. Keeping me up here in the UK, you're showing off so many awesome games to the world. Well, thank you.
There's a lot of them out there.
We've been about 17 weeks in now. We've seen a lot of incredible games. If you guys haven't, anyone here for the first time, on Thursdays it's a little bit different this week. We're doing a convention for Arkham that we'll be doing starting at 11 tomorrow.
Taking part in one. We're not hosting
Taking
anything.
part in one, that's right. But normally on Thursdays we do what's called Throwback Thursday, and that's where we just take and play old games. We played, oh man, so many. Warlord and
Mythos,
Lord of the
Ball
Rings
Z,
TCG, Lord of the Rings CCG,
Star
Dragon Ball
Wars.
Z, Star Wars CCG, Star Wars TCG, some other weird ones. Man.
Epic Duels.
Epic Duels
Star
was,
Wars TCG.
That's right. It was right there. What else did we play recently? There was one that sticks
7th
out.
Sea.
Oh, BattleTech CCG. I love
7th Sea
BattleTech.
CCG.
7th Sea was super fun.
We got a full list coming.
We've been running through them all.
Friday
Yeah,
we're
it's great.
doing UFS because we're not technically doing a Thursday. We also Wednesday has been a wild card. We've done some painting streams. There's a lot of games that are even out now that I want to check out that might end up showing up on a Wednesday.
A lot of people saying that they're now excited about maybe buying in, so that's good. You should. You absolutely should.
And thanks again to
honestly,
CMON
so
for sending
good.
these over. This was a real treat.
PogChamp asking, do you see ourselves playing more of this on stream? We could. The thing about miniatures games on the stream as it is now is it's very difficult for us to technically do it. This is about the max space we can do given our camera setup. So we might see if we can play around with that and do some other miniatures games.
Yeah, I guess you would just have to have it further away.
Yeah, I mean, we could have it further away. We could put it on a slider. We
The
could
real
have some
problem is
nicer
our table,
shots.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, because we need squared up this way.
There's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Warren saying, love the stream. I hope we see it again. Awesome, Warren. Hey, thanks for joining us. You were very helpful, too, leaving some good comments. Questwise, thanks for this. I saw it at GaryCon last year, but never got a chance to play it. So we demoed it at Gen Con when it released, and honestly, as I remember, the demo was just not nearly as good as this experience that I just had.
Well, I think
It was rushed and loud, and
it's Gen Con, it's rushed, it's loud, it was new, so I assume whoever's demoing it to us probably had about as much understanding about it as we do now.
yeah.
Plus, as you can
That can be
tell, like
overwhelming.
this first game, we were casually relaxed, played it for 2 hours. The demo was 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
So like they're trying to like
They're
jam
jamming.
it.
Yeah. You got to relax into miniatures games like that. That's the one thing that we've learned as we've gotten older. I can
It's
tell you that.
definitely a lean back experience.
Monty said, if you wanted to introduce someone new to miniature gaming, is this a good pick? Okay, so
I have a lot of answers.
that's a
to
wide
this.
open. So it depends on the theme that the person is into. That is the most important thing of all. If they love Game of Thrones, absolutely this. If they love MOBA games and they come from Dota backgrounds and that kind of stuff, play Skytear. That's absolutely it.
If they love Star Wars, play
If they
X-Wing.
love Star Wars, play
right?
X-Wing,
or Imperial
play
Assault.
Legion, or Imperial Assault. Imperial Assault's a good intro game
Yeah.
for
Well,
minis.
the thing I was thinking about, we'll come back to that in a second. The thing about this is if someone's looking to get into miniature wargaming, specifically
Battles,
the
strategy,
wargaming,
overhead, top down, like let's control big armies. Yeah.
army controlled. I think I'm trying to think of a war game that I would recommend more as a first war game for someone.
If I'm doing a first game, miniatures game, it has to be pre-assembled. Also,
Sure.
has to be pre-assembled.
I mean, there are people in my life like that are crafty that I could see that would get into the
I'm
hobby
crafty.
component of it.
Not that way, though.
No, you're not that kind of crafty. But otherwise, like if someone wants to play a game, like this is a great introductory war game. That's the pocket it's existing.
I'm
in
dancing
to me.
around saying that I like this game a lot. I really like it.
It's really
I
good,
think it's
right?
great. I
It's
think it's
really
actually
good.
really great.
Like I said, I think for a war game, it is giving you so many of the war game elements without the weight of it. So it doesn't like bog you down in the minutia of those kind of games and the execute. Because I think, thesis, miniature war games, there needs to be as much joy in the execution as in actually playing the game itself. And I mean
Like
assembly,
thinking about tactics,
painting,
right? Oh, right.
and then literally just like making the game function. It's almost like some people that like to like make gears work or model train, where it's like,
I did that recently.
really?
Yeah. Father-in-law has a train, has a model.
I
thing. Yeah.
have seen such.
It's really fun.
but
It's
like,
really fun. It's like it just goes in a circle. But
Getting something to work.
yeah.
So I feel like when you're playing a 200-page hardback war game, with every faction has their own 200-page hardback rule cover, it's not about the extremely meaningful decisions. It's literally, I painted this army for 3 years, I got it on the table, and then I'm here to make it function how it's supposed to function in the universe, win or lose.
Yeah.
This is more of a game forward
Yeah.
experience, right? You can play immediately on the table. You still feel like you're controlling an army, and we're on a battlefield, and that whole thing's happening.
It looks right.
But
Yeah.
you don't have all of the like technical. It's not. I don't feel like it. I'm not proud of myself for having executed this game.
Right. You didn't spend the time to learn the system. Same thing with like D&D or Torchbearer, games like that, where like you have people that have spent years and they know the system so well, and that's really impressive, and that can be a very fulfilling experience. But I don't feel like I need to like spend the time diving into some tome to master the ins and outs of how to play this game,
I feel like
which
what
is good.
now, like if we were doing it immediately again, right? It's like list building, the tactics, the timing of when I'm using the tactics board versus when I'm attacking and moving and my positioning.
There's a lot here.
And so it's the game that I'm starting to focus on, and not like, okay, now I need to remember how cover works still, and like, because part of those games
Infinity's
too.
that way for me. I feel like learning how to play Infinity is a mastery process.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I know that an eighth of your model showing means that this cover modifier, et cetera, et
Yeah,
cetera.
and I know your AROs and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah.
And the other thing about that too, right? That's another game we showed is Infinity. I forgot about that. Is like back to the RAM conversation we've been having on the podcast. And if you're unfamiliar, we do a weekly podcast called the Covenant Cast. It's on all the major platforms.
It's like this, but no video, basically.
Yeah, it's just us talking as retailers and players and our perspective on the industry. But basically, miniature war game thing, and this is what I've started appreciating, painting more and being a part of some of those communities and like just seeing the people who enjoy this stuff, is like part of it is you use those rule books, the big games, right, enough until the point where it's memorized
Yeah.
and it's coded in and it doesn't take RAM anymore.
Yeah.
And people that get to that level, like 40K, I get it. It's like if you've been playing it for 20 years, you're not working to play anymore.
Right.
You don't have to reference, you don't have to look, but this gives you that feeling from the first time you play it, which is what's impressive.
100%. Bane Kerrigan in here. I recently got into BattleTech and Age of Sigmar, so miniatures games like this are a new interest for me. Thank you for doing a good job showing off another one. Absolutely, Bane. Maybe we can get you buy into a third one if you got a lot of time on your hands. Daniel, this is a great idea. Daniel Logue here on YouTube says you should play this to resolve conflicts from the Game of Thrones board game by FFG Ultimate Campaign, right? Can you imagine?
A little side
like
game.
a weekend of playing the Game of Thrones board game where the battles are resolved in this way? Oh my God, that's the kind of stuff that gets me insane. Cody's saying would love to see some Doomtown Reloaded. I would love to see it too. I never got that game.
So it's in my list. I actually have it. They sent us some decks.
Carl Duty would love to see us play X-Wing.
It's on the list too. So I am almost out of my Star Wars hibernation. I can feel it. Episode 9 hit in December, and I was on Destiny break, and
it broke you a little bit, didn't it?
yeah, and then
It broke you.
well, so 9 happened. I was already taking a break from Destiny, and then Destiny got announced that it was ending. So I lost the game that I was playing the most. That was also Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit, and I've just kind of, even Destiny, they released those transformation cards that look awesome, but like I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, right. I'm not ready.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, and you had to fight the good fight defending Episode 8 for so long.
Yep.
That I think it's also exhausting.
All my hope got drained.
Chris Hardham says, great stuff. Thanks for the stream. Awesome to see you play Song of Ice and Fire. Hope to see more. It's an amazing game. I can't
I had a good
argue
time.
with that. Yeah.
You know, hey, all I'm going to say is if some dragons show up on my doorstep, it's going to be real hard for me not to want to get this back on the table.
Daniel Logue said, how old is this game? I feel like there's already so many expansions. It says 2 years. But, you know, the thing about the expansions is the upside and downside, right? When you have so many factions, a game being out for 2 years might mean you have one additional expansion for the faction you want to play.
As far as I know, like Targaryen has the core set and the Unsullied expansion.
Okay. So there you go. So, you know, if you maybe started with Stark and Lannister, maybe they have 2 or 3 expansions at this point?
I think they have like 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Yeah, I think they're getting at least, especially
They're
that first-
cranking over there at CMON now. And they're not kickstarting this over and over, right?
No,
That's
no,
not
that
one of
was
those.
they
Good.
typically just launch something on the Kickstarter and then switch straight to retail.
Have you played Scythe?
No.
That's the last question I've got here
So
from
that-
Chad.
That's exactly the kind of game I'm talking about on these Wildcard Wednesdays, where like there's a whole category of games we've kind of just been ignoring. It's called board games.
Yeah.
Both,
That's a great business model. Great.
both, yeah, the
These
most
geniuses not playing board games.
Literally
at the golden age of board gaming.
the category of games that has probably the most players. But you know, we've always been into the expandable, community-driven, dive into a game really, really deeply. And board games, you know, the lines are getting blurrier. Like I think Power Rangers last year did this, where it's like not quite an expandable game, not quite a board game.
Skytear's doing that.
I think Skytear can
It's
feel that
blurring
way.
every line.
But all that said is like I think there's some really phenomenal board games, and that's a category I'm interested in exploring a little more. You know, we play board games. They exist. Outer Rim,
Sure.
Tokaido, etc.
I'm a huge Quantum fan.
I
Can't hate
also
on
love
Quantum.
Quantum.
Oh man, I love Quantum.
But I know there are a lot of notable board
Small
games
World.
that we
A
should
long time since I
probably
played
play. Scythe being one of them. I hear about it all the time, right?
Scythe, Root, Gloomhaven, you know, go down the list, etc.
Yeah.
Chad said he'd totally teach us, so that's actually good. Matt says he totally understands why you're burnt out, but when you're ready to play Destiny on stream, I'll be very interested. It's actually on the schedule right now. All right, thanks for the stream, says Daniel. Well, thank you guys. We'll use that as a cue to get on out of here. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, and then we're halfway through the week, so couple of days left.
Arkham
and
tomorrow,
it's the big
VFS
weekend.
Friday, and then we're back to a weekend.
That's right. Join us tomorrow if you want to check out Arkham, kind of see how that one works. We will definitely be demoing that.
Star Wars Rebellion's another one that we should play at some point.
Oh, that's like the quintessential Star Wars game.
It's actually fantastic. I played it twice, and it was wonderful both times. Thank you for being here. Thanks again to CMON and Pete for sending these copies of the game. It was an absolute treat. If you want to learn more about
Great
this,
work on this.
head over to their website, and you never know. We might feature it again. We might not, but it's been an absolute privilege. Thanks for being here. Thank you for everyone with the rules help. Stay safe out there, and we'll catch you guys later.